welcome everyone. For you, it is definitely Saturday, September 24th, 2016, except for Arkk. No, not Arkk, Arthars. It's actually September 25th for you, man. Alright?
Yeah.
Jesus. Alright.
Yeah, it's early. It's only 5 a.m. It's really early. Yeah. Really early.
Alright, I'll try not to keep you up too much longer, man. And then we turn into a 4-hour show, but you know. And I'm Frosty, by the way. This is MogTalk. If you are new to the show, MogTalk is a podcast where the Final Fantasy XIV community comes together and discusses anything from Chocobo Racing to Savage Raiding. For like the entire last month, we've been going over the new patch and the World Race. And it's going to start happening here in just a few days. Today, the main discussion is really aimed at was supposed to actually be aimed mainly at the World Race, but there's a lot of things that actually happened over the last few days with the patch notes that have provoked a lot of discussion. Those things being new job changes and mentions on raid difficulty, and you know, people posting stuff on Twitter. Apparently some elitist jerk or something, I don't know, posted something that caused some Reddit madness, which we'll talk a little bit about. We'll talk a little bit about here. And then we will start here mainly discussing those three topics today, and this is the last episode before 3.4, and I'm hyped as I can be. Are you guys hyped up?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, let me introduce our awesome guest today. We have, for the third time returning with us, a very entertaining and multi-talented streamer, Arthars. How are you doing, man?
Wow, when you say multi-talented, I was like, oh, maybe he's introducing Arkk first.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Wasn't expecting that. Hey, guys, what's up?
I always oversell you, man. I feel like I should. Oh. But no, awesome, man. And our next guest we have on the show was here just last week, speaking about 3.4, so he's digging into it a little bit more with us, always bringing great insight to whatever subject we speak on, whether it's role-playing, cosplaying, and what, crafting. Yeah, you do all those.
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
That is multi-talent. That is multi-talent.
Only.
But our awesome.
I'm sure I wasn't a last resort for this show or anything like that. I'm sure.
You actually weren't a last resort. You weren't like the first person. Yeah. But you were definitely one of those people. Arkk, you're like one of those guests that I'm like, I need a solid guest for this show. And I looked through a whole bunch of different people. I'm like, you know, I'm going to get someone I know and trust is going to be a really good discussioneer on the show, I guess. And that's going to be Arkk. And that's why this is like your 20th episode here? I don't know. It's
at the point where I've lost count now. Yeah, I'd have to go back and count.
Yeah. Almost to pretty much like almost co-host status here for how many times you come on the show, man. How are you doing, Arkk, by the way? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just doing my pre-patch routine where I go through my inventory and I'm like, oh, all this stuff that I said I was going to use. I just threw away my Black Mage gear. I finally threw it away for Grand Cup deals. I haven't played Black Mage since.
You just threw away all of your gear?
My Black Mage gear. The glamours.
Oh, glamours. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I've had like my eye level 90 set that I got. So.
Okay, I got you.
and it's every patch I throw at something that I've been hoarding. So yeah, it was nice. Now my inventory is nice and clean and ready for some loot to go into it.
I wish I had the binary retainer the other day, and I felt really bad about it because I've never bought a retainer. I was like, I'm gonna be a champ, only keep the 2 default retainers, not buy that third one. And I start leveling up crafting, and immediately I had to buy one. There's no way that I can like get away without it. Arthars, do you have a whole bunch of retainers?
No, because I have 2 characters, 2 accounts. So usually when my main character, no, actually I haven't even used like the other character space. Like it's mainly stuffs that I hoard for a long time. Like I've been wanting to desynthesis something, and I was like, okay, I don't have enough skill, but eventually I think I will. And I kept stuff to a point like one of my retainers is full of blacksmith weapons. And I was like, at the point where should I just quit blacksmithing desynthesis? Because it's so bad now, right? Back then, during the primal weapons, it was good. And then now I reached 120. I'm like, should I just restart or should I just hoard? And my decision is, okay, just hoard. One day it might come. One day He might come good, I don't know.
Oh, you're holding on to them for desynth? Like someday you'll level your desynth and get in desynth them all? Is that what
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So
yeah.
one of my retainer is all weapons. The Ravana weapon. I have a few Bismarck weapons.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all weapons. Dungeon weapons.
I try to treat the market board kind of like a retainer. Like I sell stuff, or like I might use this one day, but I just sell it, and then maybe another day it'll be a cheaper price. Maybe another day it'll be more expensive. But whatever, I have to make that gamble because I need space, man. And so I just sell everything, and then just hopefully one day if I need it, I'll just buy it back. But all right, let's get back on target here. So again, this show is kind of like a extension of like an evolving subject throughout the last month. There's tidbits of information that's been happening every single week. Within the patch notes just released, there are some very interesting topics again to discuss. First of which is definitely the astrologian job change. Arthas, I'm actually going to start with you. I'm going to start with you, Ben, as one of the lead voices in the community towards how much Astro sucks. How do you feel about the changes, Arthas?
Okay, I'm not a big fan of astrologian. In fact,
oh yeah, really?
I don't even know how they work until today. I don't even have astrologian unlocked. It's still level 0. So I mean, what I can tell you regarding astrologian is how I feel rather than how they work. Like, okay, let's be really honest. Up to this point, I think it's safe to say astrologian sucked up to today. All right.
I have some people who would disagree with you. I have people who
because
disagree.
Only in World Second. They were only in World Second, so that means they suck.
It's true.
Okay, I would say, why do I say they suck? All right. Since 3.0, they have been fixing astrologian until today. And then you think that, okay, maybe it's not the astrologian fault. Maybe it's the fight being too intensive where, the world first people, which we will come back later, is like, okay, we need to get a proper meta healing setup going, which is the Scholar and the White Mage. Foolproof, right? So up till Midas, when they decide to tone down the DPS check, putting lesser stress on the party, because healer DPS was so needed, right, back in Gordius. So it's like, okay, maybe this is the time where astrologian comes back. And then it seems like the patch notes, every single patch notes, there's always stuff about astrologian. So this time it seems that it has settled down already. And I've never really heard people complain much about, like, astrologian being too bad. People actually have astrologian in the world maybe what, first 10, 15 clear. So, okay, it seems like astrologian is okay. And when I play with astrologian, it seems like they are doing their job, keeping alive. I mean, for me, it's very simple. If a setup can clear something, I'm okay with that. Even if it's an astrologian, I will just be like, okay, I know I'm not going to get the balance because I'm the ninja, but whatever, man. Just make sure that you do what you need to do, heal, or whatever. So I didn't have a problem up to Midas. So I thought there was no more problem with astrologian. In fact, I actually stopped making fun of astrologian, but as a personal vendor, I was still like, yeah, astrologian stuff. So when I see the patch note in 3.1, I'm like, what? So it's not fixed? Like, why? Why suddenly Yoshida says that everything has to come out again? I thought this has been fixed already. I mean, fixed, I'm not saying about whether the job is good enough. I'm saying about the job now has this place in the community, right? It's a place in the raid setup, right? So you're giving us all these patch notes. So what are you trying to tell? Are you trying to tell us that this shit is still not fixed? Dude, it's 3.4 already. We are talking about what? One more major patch, 3.5? And then we are going to 4.0 already. This job has been there since 3.0 fixing until now. And I'm salty because the development time spent on fixing this job means that my other job, what happens to my ninja? Dude, my ninja don't have any fix till today.
Ninja doesn't need a fix. Ninja's okay.
Astrologian is okay. I see the same thing. I mean, they are not broken. They were fucking broken. They are not broken now. Like, so much. And then now I look at the buff. The first thing that came to my mind, when I saw the astrologian buff, is not about, oh, astrologian is going to be so happy right now. The first thing that came to my mind is, oh my god, those FF locks people must be like, holy shit, let's get the shit out of this. Let's milk these boys. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I don't know what to say, man. If astrologian feels to me like, you know when you grew up, there's always this one little boy that always get bullied on. People always like, scold you. Astrologian is that guy. And then one day this guy is going to grow up and fail, right? I feel that 3.4 is going to be the day where astrologian is like, knocking on the door, Scholar and White Mage, like, hey, what's up, man? I'm back. Only for them to get beat to shit to the ground again in 3.5. I think, that's what I think.
God.
Before we go into like Arkk, I'm pretty sure he knows a lot about astrology. Before we go into the technical details, I would feel that the first reaction in the community is too strong. Everybody feels that it's too strong. For me, I don't really think that it's really strong because it's 3.4 already. This little poor kid has to have a time to shine. And I think this is their time to shine. Hey, let them shine, man. Come on. Everybody has to have one patch. That poor job getting bashed like left, right, center. I think it's okay.
Goodness. Yeah, no, that was perfect, Arthars. That's a great analogy there. The little kid got me, man.
I actually had a similar reaction at the point, even before the patch notes came out, when Yoshida was like, we think that the original design of Astro was too powerful and would be broken, so we didn't put it in. And they put in something like so shitty in like 3.0.
Yeah.
And then they just slowly went, and that's why there's like all the memes of like the full circle and stuff like that and stuff like that, because they went right back to the original Astro, and they're like, we're pretty sure this is overpowered, but we just can't figure it out. Here you guys go, 3.4. Here's like some really broken Buster Astro.
Yeah, you guys realize that how careful they are, right? In the interview, in the patch note, like,
I know, right?
We can't. The factor about the cards is RNG. We have to keep it fun so that when you get this card, you find a way to use it, and then you decide to make balance the card that is the D card right now.
Yeah.
Like now everything evolves about balance. If you're not rolling a balance, people will be like, let's wipe or something, or things like that. Now it's becoming like that, and then they are like kind of contradict what they always say. We can't do it. It might be too OP. And then suddenly now in 3.4, it's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, I know exactly, right? He basically said that. That's basically what he said. He was like, I think this is broken and overpowered, but we just said whatever. Screw it.
Yeah.
No, it's really funny because I don't even think this is necessarily going to totally break them. It's going to make them very viable in some situations, especially speed kills. But which
they're already viable in speed kills.
Yeah, they're already viable in speed kills.
Exactly,
but
right?
even more so now, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
Double Astro. People are already talking double Astro. People already wrote in double Astro too for the double cards.
For me, I feel like, I mean, from a DPS perspective, I feel that Scott. Okay. Let's just I mean, I'm not sure. After looking at the picture, do you guys think that right now Astrologian will like have a good chance of replacing a white mage, or you guys think that more?
They already. All right. So like we've talked about Astros for like the last 2 months, like on and off with different people. Bok Choi, definitely one of those people in the community who's been talking a lot about Astros, and he's always been supporting it. And he honestly believes Astro Scholar is better than White Mage Scholar before this patch happened, and that's because of the heavy mitigation they'll bring. And so you're preventing all this damage. You don't really have to heal as much damage, because if you do it right and you work with the disables, you're preventing the damage that you would have to heal in the end.
It's really going to depend on the fight for sure, because like if you think about, like, it depends what mechanics are more difficult in these fights. Because if there's a mechanic like J-Storm that you can't really skip, or it's very hard to skip, where you're all grouped up and Cure 3 is extraordinarily powerful, like Astros don't bring anything similar to that at all. But they do have very good mitigation for darkness damage.
Actually,
and if there's a lot of HP checks that come out,
wouldn't you just disable during J-Storm, and that would kind of like give you that extra little boost?
6 seconds, you could disable one of the J waves. Sorry, I was meant to say J waves. Yeah.
And so, like, around the end, that last little clip, you have tank limit break.
White mages have their niche, but they're hanging by a thread by that niche. Like, that's the niche they have, and it's really going to depend on fight design. And honestly, once you're really geared, you're probably not going to need stuff like that anymore for farm and stuff like that. But I wouldn't, like, again, that's a pretty powerful ability, though. Their ability to, like, deal with mechanics like that. So I really have to see these fights to say something like that. But like, yeah, Astros, as far as raid DPS goes, especially considering that it's like practically impossible for healers to accuracy cap without a bard spamming Rain of Death this tier, because they didn't add any accuracy, and you can't get more melts into your gear. You're already maxed out on accuracy. Like, Astro is going to be very powerful for raid DPS, especially with a machinist. Especially if you're not running a bard, their damage is going through cards, right? They do look good, decent damage to their cast, but if you have a machinist in your group, Astros are very strong for overall raid DPS. It's just that's not a super important thing in Prague this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the thing is, right now, if you have like a subpar group and you have one really good DPS player and a good Astro, they could carry your team's DPS.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to cover. That's the point. Yeah, that's the point I wanted to cover earlier. Like, if you have if your healer DPS like if some healers out there is not that good at DPSing, right? Same for say a scholar out there. So if you were to get an astrologian into these groups, like okay, if your scholar can't, for some reason your scholar can't DPS, you get an astrologian in, or your white mage can't maximize DPS, or doesn't have enough accuracy, like I've just mentioned, the next tier as well, lack of accuracy. You are talking about actually astrologian giving DPS to your group, and this number will exponentially increase depending on how good your DPS is. If your 4 DPS is really strong, sometimes I feel if you give them the damage buff, your party DPS as a whole is more than, like, say a scholar would do a DPS to get it. I mean, that's what I think. Especially the next tier, the gears is going to be stronger, right? And especially the next tier is going to be 20% balance, right? So I think that it will exponentially increase. But I also feel that even after the fix, I feel that I just can't see a raid situation where people will be like, okay, I wouldn't imagine, say, not just the world first. I mean, world first will always have a way to get it, regardless of the setup. Like the other groups, I wouldn't see any. I wouldn't imagine one group to be like posting on Twitter and say, okay, if we had an astrologian in 3.4, we would have cleared this turn. Like if I'm running a white scholar, I wouldn't imagine anybody would come out and say, okay, if I don't have an astrologian, I would not clear. So I think with an astrologian might be better, might be slightly off, but I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this right now. I think that even if they were to overpower this, maybe this time astrologian have like way more leeway, way more variety to the raid scene. So I'm personally okay with that. Yeah.
Do you guys think that like the increase to bowl is going to make a huge difference? I mean, everyone's probably going to be like balance, but I mean, like
with some good coordination, that's like you could just be like, hey, tank, drop your tank stance. I'm going to give you a tank stance for a minute plus, right?
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you're basically saying, hey, I'm giving you 20%, and you could do it for like 50 seconds, right, or something like that.
Now, it's more likely you'd be able to do something like that on the fly as opposed to doing an AoE bowl, because that depends on you being able to get the right cards set up for Royal Road, Unless like the mechanic that you need to mitigate's really early in the fight and use your spread for that. But like that individual bowl is actually probably a better. It's better to like try and get like risk not getting a balance. It's better to use that bowl on a tank and make them drop tank stance, because they're doing 20% more damage when you do that, right?
Likely they already have dropped tank stance and they're not using it anyways, right? That's what everybody does.
It's very situational. It really depends. That's one of the things I've always liked about Astro is like you need a lot of communication to make good use of their cards in some cases, right? And it's always been kind of cool. I've always kind of wanted to do prog with an Astro, and I might get a chance to do farm, at least early farm with an Astro this time around. But they're a pretty cool class with how they do that, and those buffs to like the buff to balance is just like straightforward. It's like, hey, you know how you did a lot of damage before? Well, here you go. Here's even more damage. You better
it's absolutely
or something.
And it's going to make FF logs like that much more of like you can't really compare yourself to the top 100 people. You just say if they're in the top 100, you don't look at it. You just have to ignore it because those are most likely not real parses.
Yeah. See someone with a high parse, you really got to go in there. There are people who run with Astros in groups and they never get a single card, and they actually might legitimately have a good parse, even though there's an Astro in their group. You just look in there and see how many cards they got. Sometimes they get none.
No one's going to look at it. The average group is not going to dive into FF logs that much.
They're gonna post that, man. They're not gonna post that. Yeah. And it's not called FF logs anymore. They're gonna I think if you do some science, maybe they have already registered a new domain name, Astrologian logs. Yeah, probably.
I saw that joke in chat, Arthars. Yeah.
You know what my favorite thing about this whole thing is that there's like some developer who did Astro, right? And they made it totally like really very similar to what it is in this state, likely. And Yoshi was like, no, too overpowered. We have to nerf it to the ground. And then they went full circle and brought it back here, and the devs just probably like, man, guys, I told you. Like, this is exactly what we should do at the start. What is your problem?
See, and this is
that'd be so frustrating.
Really, what they did is they just added too much RNG to the cards. I mean, honestly, I think they should just split the RNG in half, and then they'll be okay. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Exactly. I was saying on this Discord earlier, like, the main problem with the cards is the RNG. Like, okay, rather than Yoshida trying to be like, okay, we want to make this job, whatever card you get, see what you can make the best out of it. And then suddenly, when you look at the patch note, it's like, no, that I don't feel like that. I just feel that right now it's all about the balance. And, I mean, they buff balance the card that doesn't need a buff.
Yeah.
So we are basically shitting on the other card and say, oh, except for bow, obviously. Like, okay, so basically right now, if you don't, maybe if you get a bow for some reason, you can plan for it.
Yeah.
I really can't see the use of the bow, except for what Arkk says earlier. Hey, you know, I'll throw it on you. You can go into attacking stance for that half a minute or something. But now it's already leaning towards, okay, it's not, okay, RNG is RNG, but if you don't get balance and you don't get bow, most of the time you either will, I mean, I don't know how astrologian work. Again, I don't know how it works. Most probably people will just chuck it away. You know, I don't want this card.
Like,
and it's going to be, like, why the RNG then? And then we are like, say, okay, if you were to, if they don't buff any single card, and if you just go with, okay, we're going to remove the RNG, you can choose all the 6 cards you want. I mean, maybe they do something about it where it's not going to be so OP, like, you know, every single time you have a card. I think removing the RNG alone and retain what the card is, I think astrology is already very viable already. Like, you can. It is not a matter, like we will if we were to talk about bow, it is not about buffing the bow. It's about when you get to use this card. You're not gonna be like, oh, I buff a bow, I draw a bow, oh shit, man, I'm gonna hold this until like a next tank buster or something. Your tank will be like, you don't have to do that. Your party will be like, you don't have to do that.
Because you can't plan for it every time, right? And so that's the thing. If you could plan for it, then yeah, it would be great. But since you can't plan for it, if they split, I mean, I understand having RNG factors to make the job more fun. Like, Machinist does that, and they get procs, and then you're like, oh yeah, if I get a proc, I have to react this way. And so it's a little bit better, right? Because it's a mild bit of RNG. But if you, like, had it to where every single ability was, like, 2 abilities on 1 card, and you just had 3 cards you had to deal with, that could be a little bit better. I mean, you'd have that little bit of interesting, like, RNG factor to your job. Plus, it wouldn't be as damaging, hoping you get 1 out of 6 cards every single time you draw a card. So,
yeah. It's kind of cool because part of the buff was that they are basically redraw and draw are on the same timer now, so you can redraw every time you draw a card. And when you use redraw, you can't draw the same card again. So it goes from 1 in 6 to 1 in 5, and you get to do that every single draw now, where it used to be every other. They also increase the duration that you can hold onto a card too, which allows you to kind of time the use of it better. So if you pull it a balance, and it's like this is like in the middle of intermission phase, and I don't have spread up, so I can't save it. Now, so so like that's a quality of life change because you can hold on to it, and you can also hold on to a card and like decide to read, like, you know, you have a little bit more time to think about what to do with it if you want to royal road it or not and stuff like that. And that's what the other cards are for. Are probably going to be more used for royal roading. Very like niche, like weird situations where the TP and MP tongs card might be useful. The spear, I'd be very weird to see a strategy based around a spear, but I mean, if you're really, really good and coordinated, maybe, like, it's like, I know if I get a spear here, I know where to use it, and it'll be great. Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, it's actually, with Bull being more powerful now, it's very likely that every single card they draw will be somewhat useful, but there's still chances for a stream of bad luck, of course, right? And that could happen. Okay, so, and again, I want to remind you guys, if you have questions or you have anything that you want to say, please say it in chat. Kurt's going to be out there collecting questions and everything. And I just saw something from Gertzum, and I'm not trying to discourage you guys from asking stuff, but I'm going to completely smash what he said. Okay, he said that I feel like it's a lot better to have a card to aim for, like balance, than having all the cards be good, because if every card was as powerful as the others, then any card you get would be useful anytime. Having a balance card be the card to be aimed for makes the card play more interesting, in my opinion. That doesn't make any sense to me, because I would want to have every single card. I'd be like, hey, I got this card, it's useful. Am I in the situation to where I can use it? If not, then I kill the card and get the next one. And that's kind of your decision making. Is this a useful card now? And if it's never a useful card, and you're automatically killing it every single time, there's no thought to it. It's not like... That's what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Like last time, last week, this is what my most favorite thing. Everyone's shooting for balance, right? Like, let's not pretend we're not all shooting for balance. That's why I said every card should have some effect that's like part of the RNG, but also do the exact same thing as balance, right? Like every single card gives the damage up. They could balance like how powerful that card is. Maybe it should only be 10% if that's the case. If every card you draw gives damage up, and then you also have something on top of it. So it's like, I'll give this card to the person who needs TP right now. I'll give this person to the guy who needs MP right now. I'll give this person cooldown reduction, but it all is damage up every single time you do it. That's what I was kind of like thinking. That that would keep the RNG, but add the card everyone wants on every single one.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.0. I don't know, something similar.
You guys know about the Final Fantasy 11 Corsair?
No.
Yeah,
Oh well,
Ark, dude, I love that class.
That concept should have been what cut should have.
Yeah, that was a really cool concept.
Explain it real quick, just because like I don't know.
Okay, you have your TP song. I mean TP dice. You know,
Right.
Corsair rolls dice. You have your TP dice. You have your attack up dice. You have your So every single job have their primary ability tied to the dice. For example, let me remember. Okay, for example, if you have a Dark Knight, it will be attack. If you have a Ranger, it will be accuracy. If you have a Corsair, it will be TP, I think, is it? So something like that. So when you roll, you get 1 to 6. Every ability will have a lucky number that for example, okay, I'll just give you an example like Dark Knight. You know, a Dark Knight roll, a Chaos roll. If you were to roll, I forgot the number, 4, you will get maximum potency increase, like 22% attack. If you roll an unlucky number, you get 5%. If you get 11, which is because 2 dice, right? 11 will be the maximum. You will get a somewhat second best tiered boost rather than your lucky number. And then if you roll 12, you burst, and then you lose the effect, and then you get a damage penalty. So if you think of it like you put it on the balance, holy shit, I roll a balance. This balance is gonna give what, 9%? No, I want it to give 15. I roll again, I get 13%. Okay. Do I want to roll again? Roll again, boom, dead. Not dead, like you get 5% damage reduction.
That
was the system in 11. That was really fun.
Yeah. I did play Corsair a lot in 11. I really liked the class too. I always think it's very odd that Astro and Machinist came out at the same time, because I kind of was thinking that Corsair was coming out the way like, oh, there's like a card class and there's also a gun class coming out. I'm like, oh, I know what that's gonna be, and it's like, no, they're totally split off. So that's why I'm playing Machinist and also playing Astro at the same time. But yeah, it's that was a really interesting system. The negative aspects of it were kind of like, like it was really cool because if you had that job in your group, the rolls were more powerful. So if you brought a summoner and used the summoner's roll, or it was called the evoker's roll, then you'd get a bonus to using that ability. So it was kind of cool like that. It was a very, very good system. I liked it a lot. Yeah. It's a shame.
Captain here in chat was asking about the healer accuracy and about not meeting cap, and he was wondering what we were talking about, because when you were coming up in this next patch, I'll let you explain it, Arkk. I mean, it's your whole thought process there.
So Yoshi 100% confirmed that they are not adding accuracy to any of the new gear that's coming out. And healers have a hard cap on accuracy at this point that they cannot get past, because even if they add new food, there's a cap on how much accuracy you can get from food, and they're not even getting the max from it at the moment. They meld all 5s into their gear. And even the only the way you can get more accuracy is if you use pentamelded jewelry, which will probably lower your damage anyways. You could probably use 1 or 2, but that still won't even get you the accuracy cap currently, because it's probably going to jump up at like another 50 or so for casters, or maybe more. And you probably could hit the accuracy cap with a bard using Rain of Death and lowering evasion, but being about 50 under the accuracy cap or so, you're probably going to miss like 5 to 7% of the time. It's be really rough on healers for damage. So,
well, I guess the relic weapon, when that is back up and they up it in a tier, it's a bit off.
Damage. If the item level matches the best weapon in the game, because even then it's still like, unless you really, it's like if you really want to push healer DPS, you probably should have Astro in the group at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, at the beginning, Astro is really good because it's not going to require these things to be patched in eventually, like higher increase to the relic weapon.
In a sense, that's a little bit of a buff to Bard, because if Rain of Death is more important, it's like, groups already did this in the first place, but not as much, because the healers prefer to be accuracy caps in some cases. But it's like, oh, this is the window where our healers are going to start DPSing, keep Rain of Death up. It's not really a massive potency decrease for the Bard to do that currently. I think it's like 10 potency or 20 potency, something very small like that. So, and they don't have to, it lasts for 20 seconds, so it's not like they have to use all their procs on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and these guys, they don't care about your weapon damage because they don't want to miss at all. So, all right. I mean, if that's what you guys want, that's fine. I mean, we're going to have to craft it weapons too, so you're going to be able to like over-meld it probably a little bit. But like, so I don't know. It's just going to be, getting to the 100% is going to be really hard. You can probably do it, but you're going to probably gimp your heals overall if you don't need healing that much. I guess it depends on how hard the heals are, the healing checks and everything are too. If the healing checks are like really easy, then screw it. What's the point?
As long as you can do more damage then the chance of missing a couple times or bringing a bard, yeah, it's like, sure, that'll make complete sense. But you just have to make sure that that's actually true. And you also do lower limit break damage a little bit when you use a weaker weapon. And you'll have less stamina too, so... But I think... Sorry, vitality.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're going to do maximum DPS with healers, then yeah, you could probably gear in the accuracy at the point.
Yeah, there's a very possibility that that's the thing, but that's like, we're talking late. Like, the relic's not going to be out for a while. This isn't a prog thing. This isn't a prog thing, and this is not even an early farm thing. This will be a while until you see this stuff. Yeah,
because I don't think the DPS is really going to be out there to where, like, hey, you're going to have to sacrifice your healing this much for a DPS. Likely the mechanics are going to require more healing than it's going to require DPS in the end.
Yeah, we're talking like what this is like a speed kill. This thing is going to affect speed kills in some way. And like I said, this is one of the reasons why people probably prefer Astros or bring a Bard and try and coordinate.
I'm bringing a Bard. So
like if you can keep your best gear and still be accuracy capped with a Bard, that's probably the way to go. If you're running a machinist, you probably should use an Astro. And this is speed kill talk. This is speed kill talk here, not prog stuff. Prog stuff, it's like heal. You're a healer.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how all prog works, and I think in most cases when people are doing world prog, they're definitely going heavy heals and heavy tanking, especially at this point. In Gordius it was different, but this is
unless they totally screw up on the final fight in some kind of a DPS check at some point or something like that. But I think they're so confident that it's going to be easier this time that I think they probably overshot the easy part. That's what my opinion is right now. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but they're so confident about it because they were a little confident about Midas and they screwed up on A6S, right? Which I liked A6S the way it was, but it definitely wasn't what their goal was. They totally failed on that. So now this time they're super confident, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll see how that works.
There's no way we screwed this up this time, guys. I'm like, uh-oh.
All right, so we'll finish off Noct on one more subject about them. Or not Noct, Astro on Noct. How about that? And so I wanted to talk about Noct on Astro. They increased that a bit, and the reason for doing that is to make White Mage Astro more viable. Do you think this increase, and I'll start with you, Arkk, real quick, do you think this increase is actually going to fix that composition?
Mitigation-wise, they were already pretty good, and this is just making them extremely powerful for mitigation. But mostly the thing about Scholar was the fairy, was the thing that made them extremely powerful. So it won't really take the spot of a Scholar by any means, but they're not gonna have they're without a doubt not gonna have issues with mitigation, that's for sure. So if it's you can never, and like I said, even now they can deal with mitigation pretty good. They don't have. This puts them closer to maybe like a Adlo deploy off a warrior with mantra up and stuff like that. Closer, but still not beat that. But that's usually overkill in some situations.
Yeah, so. But then again, they don't have to think as much for that, right? They don't have to put in the three
not
different
as much
actions
coordination. You don't need a monk for you don't need to target the war. Yeah, their shields are extraordinarily powerful now. So, and there's some mechanics, for example, like Uplander Doom, where the Astro Shield would be even better than anything a Scholar could do, because they're more likely to prevent the tank from getting stacks, because that's a guaranteed. It's almost a guaranteed double shield. So with almost the potency of what an Adlo crit would be, because they get the 10% healing buff, and they could even use Sinistry on it if the warrior's got not the warrior, whatever tank is using convalescence. I guess it's the same for Scholar, but yeah, stuff like that. It's very that's pretty cool that they have that really powerful single target shield too. Yeah. So. It's just really the fairy is what the Scholars still have on every other healer right now, and
Right. All right. Arthars, are you excited to see Astros come back and play, man? You see him in your group?
The past 5 minutes when you guys talk about fairy ability, I have no fucking idea how healing works. No knowledge about healing. All I know is I think with this astrologian buff coming, like I said earlier in the show, I think that right now you would bring any composition, and it should not be that bad. Like in Midas might be bad during progression, but I think we didn't hear really a lot of Astro saying that it can't be done. Gordius was really bad, so I think this one will definitely bring more balance to the 3 job. And actually, to sidetrack a little, I think it's scary though, because Yoshida keeps saying that they feel that Scholar and Warrior is too strong, and then suddenly with this Astrologian fix, in terms of the shielding wise, it feels like Astrologian is getting there, Whether they will overtake or not, we're not sure yet. But what about the warrior and the what about the warrior? So does this mean that there's something big coming for both Paladin and Dark Knight?
It's 4.0.
Because they don't seem like they will nerf. It doesn't seem like Square Enix wants to nerf something.
No, they don't like nerfing stuff.
No.
Yeah, they don't like nerfing stuff. They just either put someone to be extremely powerful for this patch as the meta, or they just totally break the job. Like 2.0 Warrior, how they broke it. And in 3.0, how they broke Astrologian. So they just keep buffing
that was
and buffing.
starting off with the expansion. So, I mean, like, that's kind of, it makes sense that, you know, they have broken stuff at the very beginning and they have to fix that a little bit later on. A little bit later on being 4 patches in. But, you know, with these job changes, too, it's kind of funny to me that they're making these job changes when this is the last serious patch that's out there. I mean, they don't really need to, like, do anymore because 4.0 is going to be around the corner in a bit, and they're completely changing every single job. And so they're putting a lot of resources into fixing something that is only mildly complained about. And if, like, Astro was not, like, the perfect job to play, but it wasn't a bad job to play. It was useful. It worked in a lot of situations. And I feel like they're putting too much work into this when they could be making better triple triad tournaments or something, you know?
or even worse, like, or even the summoners. What is that? Shit, what is that? Like the change appearance of your pet.
No, yeah, the Ishi Glamour.
Stuff like this.
Did you see the post? Like,
yeah, there
mentioned
could
it
be
on the radio.
It could.
It's like, it might actually be here. We just didn't mention it in the preliminary notes. I'm like, that's weird.
That'd be funny if they threw it in there.
I feel like they meant 3.45, but
if they do throw it in 3.4 and it's just like tucked into the notes,
shocked.
it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we forgot. Throw it in real quick. Throw it in the notes.
I mean, I don't know why they would withhold that information or not hype it up. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in 3.45. That was where the mistranslation or miscommunication was. But like, I'm pretty sure they said it was supposed to be in the first 3.4 patch, and I haven't seen anything, so it's a shame.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say. I forgot one thing about on this topic about like white mages and stuff. Is like the other thing that white mages bring aside from Cure 3 is also the mind buff, which is 3% mind to both your healers.
Right.
So that's also something they have going on for themselves right now. So it's pretty powerful.
So having a white mage Astro could be pretty powerful just because they bring that mind buff.
Yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. Like
instead of Astro Scholar, I mean,
just potentially stronger. Yeah. Again, it's still the pet, but the fairy pet is still very strong. But yeah, like those are the things that the white mage. I just forgot to mention the mind buff. That everyone always forgets about the mind buff because white mage is the only one who brings it for whatever reason.
Which is crazy to me. All healers just bring it. I mean, that should be.
I know, right?
Healers bring
it's strange, right? Yeah.
I don't even know the buffs.
Come on, Arthars. Come on, man. How's your pillow doing there, man? I see.
It's getting ready for nap time.
Oh, just now you guys were asking about my static, right? You know, it's funny today my static actually red, so we have some talk of 3.4. I was asking my white mage, so are you going to go Astrologian? And then she's like, I thought you hate Astrologian. I was like, yeah, I really hate, but it looks like this time it's their time to shine. So my white mage is like saying, but I look at the patch note, it seems like maybe the Scholar should play Astrologian, or maybe I will play Astrologian and then the Scholar play a white mage. And then the Scholar was really worried. The Scholar is like, oh shit, man, I'm totally not ready to play a white mage. I'm really afraid that this might be it, that Scholar is going to be like overtaken by Astrologian. I don't think that's going to happen, but
Scholar,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Scholar still beats white mage, so
yeah. So I'm like, okay, I just feel that just go whatever you guys comfortable with, unless you guys are already a very good astrologian, and then you guys your team is willing to give you the green light. Otherwise, I really think Scholar and White Mage, especially now, they keep saying that it's going to be easier, right? But of course, it's not going to be facial, like we'll cover later regarding the tweet reaction. But I think it's not going to be like super game breaking. Oh, definitely game breaking for FF Locks though. But for progression, I think any tree will be FF Locks hands down. Astrologian wins. But
yeah, no. FF Locks stupid now.
Yeah.
Really stupid. I mean, no. I mean, about how people are going to perceive it. Not like it's still a useful tool, right? You can see fights, you can read stuff, you can get information from it. But going as a ranking board, it's done.
It's all bad.
Like for progression, I would say FF Locks is really good. I actually go to FF Locks to look at during progression, like how people how people tackle each phase, what DPS is expected of each phase, what cooldown should I be burning this phase to meet it, you know, those top people who posted it. And then when it gets to a point where everybody start clearing it, and then people start coming into actually, that's where I delete cookies.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the cookies.
You
Gone.
have to be careful because like I use it for the same thing, and you have to actually look for like it doesn't it's not necessarily player specific. Some players do both really good rotations and don't cheese their parses, and some do, and they do both of it. And you got to look at their attempts where they don't cheese it, and it's like this rotation's great. This will like increase our A DPS and get us a faster kill. And then you look at another one, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. They're totally cheesing everything.
Right.
But notice that their entire group just stops DPSing when the ads spawn.
Yeah. Oh my god! I saw some stream on it. I'm like, what? People do that?
No,
Look where
of course
the
they
damn
do that.
like-
Of course, it's
Yeah,
not
it's like pair
something to
boss
compete
damage
with.
too. Like, I'm doing the same boss damage as this person, but they're like 200, 300 DPS higher. That's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's
Like you just cater for that one guy to be up there in the ranking, and then
Yeah.
that is, I think it's too much.
Interesting
That's
to look at. It's unfortunate what it does to like sometimes players who might not understand what's actually happening. They model that as the correct thing to do, even though there are a lot of players who know that that's just for like that's just for fun. That's a cheese run.
This is horrible for the average player. It's great for like people who dig into it, but average players,
it's
they're
unfortunate.
not gonna be able to pull any information from it.
It's just like up to the people who do that stuff to kind of communicate what they're actually doing. Be really realistic about it. Like say, like when someone comes to you and say, "How did you get such a high parse?" You'd be like, "Man, I cheesed the shit out of that."
Some people even tells me you can
Get that
triple
part,
dot. Yeah, some people even told me you can triple dot. Like for example, A minus turn for those big ops. People put dots on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So
So
I was like, wow.
let's switch off Astro real quick and actually hit.
Yeah.
There's one change with Paladin that's interesting to talk about. They're like, hey, Paladins are a little bit weak. We need to start buffing them up, and they made one little change, and that's make sort of do 25 more potency. So instead of 50 potency, it's doing 75 potency, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna get your impression on it, Arthas. Are you as familiar with Paladins, or you hate Paladins too, really, right?
No, I like Paladin because
Okay.
for progression wise, I think Paladin is better to learn a fight. And even if I'm doing, let's say a primal or anything that doesn't require crazy DPS check like Gordius, because Gordius force you to not pick a Paladin when you are doing progression. And also, even if you are comfortable, I mean, like Ark says earlier, the more gear you have, eventually tankability is not an issue. You also wouldn't want a Paladin. And during progression, the check was so crazy that you wouldn't want a Paladin as well. So right now, I think when they bring back this 25 potency, also by the way, when they talk about the weapon delay, actually weapon delay has been, since way back into 1.0, people already knew that some weapons with lesser delay actually gives you more DPS because of the auto attacks you put out. As a sub tank though, but whether they buff the sword or whether they intend to say make a Paladin a sub tank from now, I wouldn't look that deep into it. I would just say, okay, maybe if you were to do a duty where you are like, you really have to have a tank, and there's just not people out there. And also, if you are doing, say, Midas right now, if some reason you are still doing old content, and then when you do a duty finder, raids or even primals, and then you get a Paladin, and then this Paladin might not be comfortable with main tanking, for some reason still queue for Paladin, and then you actually have this little buff to buff everybody. But whether groups will start looking into, say, bring a Paladin as a sub-tank, I think that's quite a far stretch. I think nothing's going to beat Warrior. But of course, interestingly, in Second Call of Bahamut, people actually did mad that you say if you have a Warrior main tank and a Paladin sub-tank, you actually have higher overall party DPS. That was what people did. Some science people did back then. But with the level 60 ability right now, I'm not sure whether this thing will just make Paladin be an off and off sub tank, and then maybe Warrior become a main tank. I don't think it will be.
It's
Well, it's going to be
think
more
it'll be-
DPS punishing not to be in
definitely.
sort of. I mean, that's pretty much the biggest thing too, right? If you're not in sort of, you're going to lose that much more DPS.
And that's one of the cool things about Pally that they've always done is you use your defensive. The fact that they have so many good defensive abilities, especially against physical, like they're so strong against physical because of Halone and everything else they have too with the blocking. That most Pallies, even in early prog, are quicker to use sort of, even while main tanking, because of all the strengths they have against physical targets, especially
Real quick,
A7S.
Ark, just to mention, you ran off tank. You ran like the comp everyone hated. You ran Dark Knight main tank and Gordius and off tank Paladin, right?
we swapped. We alternated, but yeah, and we cleared it before 3.1. So rating 9 hours a week. So it was really it's actually a big accomplishment for us. I thought, anyways. I would not. Not at no point did I ever say that Pally would be great for like hardcore or world first, or to run that comp, anyways. But on A4S, Pally worked really, really, really good as an off tank because the ads were physical. You could Sheltron their 2 of their attacks. They could self heal when they did orbs. They had a lot of really good abilities. They were very good off tanks on that fight, and then you put your Dark Knight or Warrior on the main boss. So that I don't necessarily want to get into that whole debate.
No, we won't get into it. Yeah, but I thought it was an interesting talk. Since we're talking about Paladin off tank,
Yeah, and we did really good damage, but he was very dependent on ninjas. Pallies are very dependent on ninjas. You want to see Pallies do amazing damage? They need a ninja. Ninja that's like I wouldn't necessarily say catering, but they are providing them slashing. They are providing them TP through goad and really like aggro too. And though Pallies actually are pretty good with aggro because their strength down debuff and their aggro move is tied to one, so you could just really get a lot of damage from skipping a Royal Authority if you need the aggro and keeping Gorian and Alone up. So they're pretty good, and in fact, the damage right now for Pallies is very strong, especially on fights like A7S, which is really like Pallies can be in Sword Oath pretty much the entire fight on that one while main tanking. They're very powerful on that fight, and there's some other cases on the other fights. I had a strong opinion when I first saw this buff, but the weapon delay thing, they said that disclaimer, because a lot of people were talking about it on Reddit. It really depends what that actually means, because some people are like, where's the max potency? Because what they're saying is the Sword Oath bonus is going to scale off of weapon speed. And if they say the max bonus is at 2.5 seconds, then this is a big buff for Pally DPS. It's probably like 5% or more. If it's at 3 seconds though, then it's barely a buff at all. They'll hardly notice it because most of their weapons attack at like between 2.2 seconds to 2.5 seconds. So, or sorry, 2.6 I think actually. So it really depends where they're going to set that max potency from Sword Oath for the delay. And it's very hard for me to comment on this because until I know what the actual buff is, like how much it actually is, they didn't specify that, right? But let's just say it is a big buff for now. Okay. It will be interesting to see how it changes how tanks work. But I don't think it would mostly be the interaction between when does a warrior main tank and when does a Pally main tank. And I think it's just like only if your Pally is locked out of Sword Oath because the boss is hitting with magic auto attacks or crap like that, would it make sense? And that's kind of been the case already. Anyways, it's just they're going to be more powerful now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the first tier I'm running Paladin this expansion. I ran it last.
Good tier to do it.
Expansion. Yeah, this is good. Now I get to switch and be in Sword Oath and get yelled at for being in Sword Oath too much. But
Thanks. What shocked me about this is that they didn't put their TP in line with Dark Knights. That was the interesting thing. When they said, "Oh, we're gonna do some minor changes to Pally," I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna make their TP a little bit better. That's great. They really needed that." It's like, no, they are super dependent on ninjas still.
But see, here's the thing. It was a lazy fix. I know it was a lazy fix. Because what do they have to do to increase damage? They just up a number on one ability, and they say, "All right, this is it. This is your buff." Instead of going through every ability and just like removing, whatever TP cost on these abilities, or removing it on like a couple of abilities, they just have to say, "Oh, we know. Let's just buff this one number, and we're done." Hey guys, we helped Paladins. We fixed it.
It really depends on the weapon delay thing, honestly. You might be totally right about that, but I really need to know actually how much of a buff to this damage there was, because I was super excited at first, and I was like, "Oh, that weapon delay thing, that means nothing." And then I was starting to see more posts, and it's like, "Oh, it does mean a lot. Actually, it means everything." Because it could actually mean that they didn't get a buff at all. To be honest, because if it turns out that way,
it'll be really irritating.
Like that is actually a possibility that they actually got no DPS increase. They made it so like the weapons that you have, like right now the best weapon in the game still gives 50 potency from Sword Oath, just because of how they set the max delay. That's possible.
I would be, unless maybe the new weapons will be different. Maybe they'll have more delay.
Maybe if they have slower. They'd have to put in slower weapons for that to even make sense, though. I guess, right?
Yeah. And I'm kind of excited to see how it works. I'm hoping that it turns out to be like a 100, 200 DPS increase, man. That's what I'm hoping for.
Whoa,
that's a little much. It's more like
that's too much.
It's all right. I'm fine with it.
Anywhere between 5 and 10%, depending on how often your pal is using Sword Oath. Honestly, that's where we're looking right now.
Yeah, and so it's going to be kind of an exciting tier to see how these things work out, because we're probably going to definitely be running Astra too. It depends on how Kerr feels comfortable with it, but I think with these changes, it should be kind of interesting to see these. Like, if we're low on DPS, we can just give it to our strongest DPS in the, like, seriously, that's strange how that's really going to help out, like, casual groups, is that they just have one good player, and the Astra just caters to them. You meet DPS checks because of that. But
yeah.
I think that's pretty good on job changes. Real quick on a tangent, I didn't notice this, Arthars, but we kind of have the same haircut going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you got the hair going up in the front right here, and like everything else is kind of flat down, and yeah, that's all right. And are you wearing a white shirt?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my normal shirt. I usually wear white shirts all the time. That's insane.
Our headset is white too.
Yeah, it says white too. Holy crap! Like we're twinsies almost. All right, sorry, I had to go in that little tangent real quick. All right, so one other change that's kind of significant that has became like a meme almost.
I love this change.
Yeah, the healer limit break change, where it removes weakness. So
Such a funny change. I love it so much.
Yeah.
this is the sack strat buff, and like I don't know.
It totally is.
You know, again, all right, so I've said this before in different podcast scenarios, but like, shout out to Zeno's new podcast, by the way, Unchained. I think we were talking about it a lot there. We were, talking about sack strats and everything, and I would love a sack strat if it was intentional in the game. They're like, hey, this person has to die. It's a mechanic. This should be in there. And it wasn't just skipping and abusing the mechanics. It's a gimmick to get past this stuff. Yeah, I would love it. But this change caters towards skipping and cheesing the game, right?
You should probably say what it is, just in case people aren't on the same page. I haven't really actually mentioned what it was.
Go ahead, Arkk. I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, okay. Well, very quickly, it's just the healer limit breaks now remove raise sickness and does not give raise sickness to the people it raises.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, that's good. It makes
I love
it
that
healer.
for A4S.
Yeah, it's like for A4S, you make everyone really strong again, like instantly back on your feet, done. And that's kind of insane. But this is only for groups that are needing this out of wipes. And so are we going to expect that people are going to need healer limit break coming up? Like, are there mechanics in these next few fights?
I know what their intention was. Their intention was to make it so healer limit break will actually make it more likely for groups to recover. And make it so that it is a limit break that groups could use and still recover more likely in 24-mans than in Savage Raids. But now in Savage Raids, even if we're not even like, obviously the sack strategies is a thing, right? There are some cases where using healer limit break, if you have like say 2 people with raise sickness or something like that, it actually might be more potency, depending on how the fight goes out, than using a melee limit break.
Yeah.
If you could remove it from the get-go. I don't know when those situations come up. If you have like a hard wipe and the boss doesn't get stacks or anything like that, another place where like it might actually be very powerful to use it. So I think that's what the idea is make fights more recoverable, but this just caters to sack strats. Like this is like makes sack strats so much more viable now in some cases, unless they put hard measurements in to prevent it from occurring.
Yeah.
You wipe if this happens or something like that. Hard wipe.
I think what Arkk says pretty much it. Like I don't think they want you to cheese anything, but us as a player base, we will find cheese out of nothing. And also that also depends on whether they actually have designed the fight properly, so that even if you want to cheese, you can't. Like, what can I say? Like up till today, right? Many people still ask why turn 8, Midas turn 4 doesn't have that crushing wave when you sack the water. It should be there because I think Layla was saying according to the data mining, it's in turn 8, but it never happened. So things like that, like of course that one doesn't merit a healer limit break tree, but I'm just saying that will they come up with another loophole where some mechanics doesn't go off and then come into a situation where healer LB tree can actually become better, like your pentacles in can you imagine if we have the pentacle mechanic again in this Alexander Prime, and then people is like, oh shit, we can just raise this time even better without rest signal, even better full TP, full MP.
Yeah, I was just about to say. It's like you might want people to die to get all their MP and TP back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill enough people.
Everybody
'Cause
burn
there's
everything, you know,
almost
and
no
then we will
penalty.
re-raise. Like, I don't think they want it though, but I really think that
No.
they just want to make it like, if your group really want to recover, like a lot of people, like I mean, back when we were doing progression in early COI, right? A lot of people keep, you know, other players from other MMO keep coming in and say, okay, Final Fantasy 14 is basically you fail one mechanic, you wipe. No way to recover. So this time maybe with the healer LB3, people who wipe can still get up and, you know, progress another 5%. It's pretty huge actually for learning.
Doesn't that like?
I don't think.
I mean,
Yeah,
for
they
learning that
depend
makes
the cheese,
sense.
though.
But like a lot of strategies involve using that limit break 3 almost immediately, right? So you can start building up limit break again. So I mean that kind of brings a problem to healers using limit break 3 unless if it's planned in the fight already. Most people are saying, "Hey, it's time to do DPS on it, or it's time to do it for a tank limit break. It's saved for."
If you're
a
ahead of
certain spot."
DPS, you might save it for safety net. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's like, oh, we have so many deaths here normally, and healer limit break can make
On
us
your
recover
first
from
clears,
it. Or we'll
you're
use it
not
as a
there,
DPS
though,
one.
right? Your
Yeah,
first
for
clears,
But
you're
learn,
usually
though,
not.
learning is definitely an option now in terms of learning already. Even it's really funny after that Gordius fiasco regarding the healer LB3. From that point on, every single time when you're doing like Sephiroth, like you're learning Midas, actually people sometimes are okay, you know, we have the healer. I mean, obviously, like you say, it's not gonna be like, oh, we're gonna save it, but suddenly we wipe here, but we think we can. We if we were to get out, we can see one more mechanic. The healer LB3 is there now. People actually use it, so now it's an option. And with this weaken removal, I think it might really help progression in terms of learning. I think it will help. Will you plan for it though? Obviously not. I mean, don't die. Obviously, if you are doing progression, don't die. But I think it's a good oh shit situational skill this time.
Okay. All right. I think that's good for class changes and everything right now. What we're gonna move on to is how are you doing, Arthas? Are you like awake? Are you still awake? Do you need more coffee?
My wife actually made food.
This is the part that you're probably going to be better at, Arthas. Here,
Yeah.
all this stuff.
All right, so Arthas,
No.
I'm in a little Facebook group with some friends from FanFest, and they sent a link to a Reddit post, and it was your Twitter post doing a small quick translation for Yoshi, and I was like, why is this news? Why is this something like if I post something on Twitter and I just say, hey, this is what's happening? Does someone pull it and like, hey, this is a news source. This is what's going on. It seemed odd to me. Right? And then like people are like, yeah, hey, this is something that's happening. This is the words of Yoshi P from an official news source of JP Translation. Arthas, are you that? Are you an official?
I'm not, but I think in the first place, I mean, I was asking around who actually posted it up. So I think Sonoma is it him? I think from somebody from BG, because I was very active in BG since Final Fantasy 11. Mm-hmm. So I've been always posting, raging on BG. So I think a lot of people in BG knows me. So I think someone from BG posted in their Discord, and then it spreads from there. Because when I made this post, because I have this friend since Final Fantasy 11. He's always able to ask the correct questions on the floor whenever there's he always attends TGS. He always attends FanFest. So when he had the chance to ask question, which he usually find a way to ask question, he always asks the important, correct question. So this time he went to the floor, he asked Yoshida, okay, can you elaborate more? What do you mean by it's going to be easier? Like, what do you mean by is it that gearing is not going to be so strict? So basically, Twitter only, and I mean I suck at Twitter. I'm not like a super social butterfly on Twitter. I can't even put together a proper conversation on Twitter sometimes. Like the way they stack, when you reply, the latest reply goes up, right? So even if I want to write a story, I can't line them up properly. I just not good at it. So when my friend gave me this script, that what he got from Yoshida, I was like, okay, I need to squeeze this shit into 144 words. I'm not going to write an essay because that's not my point. Yeah. I just want to put it up there so that, you know, friends on my Twitter can see it. I don't intend for everybody to see or something. And then funny enough, Firana and Vade from Behemoth, we start having a conversation. The next thing you know, somebody linked me on Discord and like, oh, Arthars is now on Reddit. I'm like, no, I'm never on Reddit. I don't even have a active handle on Reddit. So when I click it, I was like, oh shit. When I read the 500 comment, I'm like, oh my god, where is this gonna go? And then people start bashing Firana. I'm like, dude, this is just me posting something and then 3 friends having an open debate. But it's interesting how it became though, because that's not what I expected.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take it the wrong way, which I think we will talk more, right?
Yeah.
So people take it the wrong way.
No, and that's a good point too. Like some of the conversations I have with people in my static group or FC or just random conversations, and I'm like, man, this is stupid because of this, and he said this. And if it was out there and then people were sitting there judging what I was saying in that conversation on like a public forum, like it's I don't know, like the conversation matters in any form at all besides just having a fun discussion. It's kind of insane. So like that's kind of what happened, is that you guys were judged basically on what you were saying, and we were called like elitist for whatever by what you were saying on Twitter. So
dude, you have no idea, man. You know, when there was this, oh fuck, man, I didn't want to talk about him. There was this World of Warcraft player. Saw the post. He replied me, LOL Final Fantasy 14 rating. Oh, not like it was, I'm pretty sure I remember it. Oh, LOL FF14 rating. Not like it was challenging anyway. That is why we have World of Warcraft Mythic rating. The first thing I went to his Twitch. He doesn't even play Final Fantasy 14. He probably suck at World of Warcraft like, I'm sorry, like the other World of Warcraft, like
he probably
players.
Sucks.
I've played World of Warcraft this one whole month, right?
Yeah.
Probably one of the people who can't even do one mechanic. And then just like some of the Reddit, the 500 posts, I didn't see all 500, but I seen some. Just like those people posting shit about the game, like they don't even play the game, and then they bash the game. And then just like those people in Reddit, they probably don't even play the game. They might be sub. They probably don't even raid. And then they're like, oh, wow, looks like I can get my mom and grandma out of the closet, and then we can raid together and clear this in 5 days. You know, people talk like that. I didn't go through all the 500 posts. So people start talking about it. You know, I mean, now I feel offended. I feel that I'm insulted. Because when Yoshida answer my friend interview, he basically said, I'm not fully sure about the whole thing. I try to say as much as I can. He basically tell my friend like, okay, it's going to be easier. All right, the DPS check is not going to be like Gordius to Midas. This time from Midas to Krita, it's not going to be, it's not going to be, you will not see something like a brick wall. You will still clear it. And now this is the important part. Now for the world first class people, which is the 1%, I'm so glad that he came out and clarified, which we will talk about later. He basically said that the world first class people, with the best in slot gain 3.2, will probably clear turn 1, turn 2, and maybe turn 3. I mean, come on. If you were to go back since the Bahamut times, the world first people have already cleared turn 1 and turn 2 in the best in slot gear already. So why is this new to people? People is like, wow, so this is going to be easy. You know, they say that it's going to be, okay, this world class first, these exceptional people, which probably I can count with one hand or with my feet, you know, probably 16, 24 people. Okay, let's just say first world 3 matters the most, all right? Probably these 24 people is what Yoshida is talking about. These people with their skills will probably take 5 to 7 days to clear, right? And this time they are looking very closely at encouraging, because it's the last raid, and also because they put in a lot of effort in designing it. They want more people. Looking at the numbers, their priority right now is to raise the enthusiasm of the raiders and also make more people raid. So this time they specifically is not like super challenging the world first people. It's not like, you know, your Twintania where they say, okay, you guys will clear in 2 months. Actually, I don't remember. Is it 2 months? And then in second call Bahamut, they say maybe 3 weeks. And then in final call Bahamut, they say 3 weeks, ends up to be 5 days. So they have been failing in their calculation. And then suddenly in Gordius, they raise the bar, right? They say, okay, this is average. You probably will clear turn 1 in like what? 1.5 months? And then Elysium took 5 weeks. And then after that, they say that Midas will take 2 weeks. And then they come out and say, wow, we did not expect it to take longer than 2 weeks. I mean, turn 6 was bugged. Without the bug, probably people will clear it faster. Elysium will probably clear it faster, right? Yeah. So now they play it down and say that maybe these people can clear in 5-7 days. You know, maybe this time they are lowballing it. And then maybe if Elysium take 8 days, they'll be like, we don't expect it to be like this, you know? And then maybe Nerf coming, I don't know. So they are targeting this... Okay, he said in the latest interview, right? This 1% of the people. So now the whole Reddit
not
is like,
saying,
oh my god, no, I'm gonna clear in 5 days.
It's like 0.0001%. Not even 1%. Yeah. It's like low.
these people just come out and say, oh, Final Fantasy rip Final Fantasy, rip rating. Now I feel offended. My static rates every day, 6 hours a day, about 12 hours on the weekend. But because my static member is not skilled, so we make up the loss of skill by playtime. So I'm looking at 3 weeks. Because that's how long my static took in Midas, which now I have a downgraded static. So now that this fight is going to be easier, I would expect still 3 weeks and 4 weeks. Most people out there expect 2 weeks before FanFest, because the race this time is really on because of the FanFest.
Right.
Yeah.
Even for people who are not going WoW first, they are also racing against time to clear as much as possible before the FanFest weekend. So everybody is, I say, as much as we are, most group, if they raid 5 times a week, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then for, like Yoshida says, people who raid twice a week, maybe half a month, and then 1.5 months, and then at the end of the live letter, right, he actually said that he expect people to most raiders to clear creator by 3.5. So about 3 months, fair enough, right? And then these ready people just reading at my not full context message is like, oh my god, we cannot do it, and then that's where I'm like, okay, it's time to close the Reddit window.
Yeah.
It's getting nowhere. That was really bad. That was really bad. Like how people think about the game right now, that is really bad. And I can guarantee you, those people probably not sub or even rating. And I feel really insulted.
I love the state of WoW rating currently. Like, I mean, there's a lot of you can pull from like how Final Fantasy is developing the rating, right? WoW got rid of ridiculously harsh gear and DPS checks a very long time ago. It's just about mechanics. And let me tell you something about the mechanics in WoW. They give you a journal that tells you all the mechanics ahead of time.
Oh my god, here we go! Here we go. Oh my god. The journal, can I add on to that? When I played WoW, okay, I'm not talking about Savage versus Mythic rating yet. Mythic rating is not out yet. And I wouldn't get the chance to do Mythic rating until 3.4 ends. Me and some friends on this Twitch, we are like, hey, we should form a group to challenge it, just for science, just to see what's the difference. But I'm not going to talk about Savage because there's no comparison now. We just talk about the normal and heroic raids that they have right now.
Hugged.
Dude, there's 7 bosses in there for a specific role like DPS. You probably just have to do 1 mechanic or 2 mechanic. Simple mechanic. Let me give you simple mechanic. Kill the ads. Tank swap. Don't stand in puddle. What the fuck? All right, easy, right? Like Arkk says, it's even in the journal, And then when you go in and do with those 20 people, these people can't even do a mechanic. AoE coming, they even have a freaking plugin. People says that in Final Fantasy XIV, if you use AST and set up custom trigger, it's almost like cheating. Dude, World of Warcraft is like fucking World of add-on, man. The amount of add-on you load for a raid, and then when you go to fight a boss, destruction. Run, little girl, run. Like, dude, the fucking plug-in tells you what to do, and people still die. 1 mechanic. I have this yesterday, 2 days ago, when I have this fighting a fight which only have 1 mechanic, and the mechanic revolves about tank swapping. The 2 tanks can't even do tank swap. Oh, did you vote early? I think I vote early. Did you taunt from me? I taunt the wrong shit. I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? And then my conclusion is, World of Warcraft raiding is not difficult. What difficult is to find the other 20 motherfuckers who is on the same page and can do 1 mechanic. And then, when we get to the last boss, people say that, oh, this is a park killer. This 1 parks is not going to clear. I'm like, okay. So I went in and tried. You know why it's a park killer? Because instead of 1 mechanic, now you do 2 mechanics. So now the park is like, holy shit, we can't even do 1. How are we going to do 2? Holy shit. People is like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I'm like, yeah. Now I know why it's a fucking park killer. It's so bad, man. But I think this is what modern MMO, Western MMO mainly, this is how parks becomes, when I look at World of Warcraft rating, to me, it's all these bosses have 1 mechanic. You need people for the 1 mechanic, okay. But for me, it's like, okay, we should form a group. Maybe we can't clear 7 bosses, we clear 6. We just leave the last boss. That's not how it works in World of Warcraft. People form after 20 minutes, go into fight 1 boss. You wipe to the first boss once. When the content is 1 day old, people leave the group. Didn't say anything, leave the group. You wipe to trash mob once, people leave the group. You clear trash mob once, somebody needs to go. Wife have appeared or something. You clear one boss, people needs to go. And the shitty thing is people don't say anything, they just leave the group. Then people reform. It reminds me of old school MMO when I play. It's the same thing, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is how it works. Maybe in World of Warcraft raiding, a boss with one mechanic is like a turn in... Can you imagine? Let me just give you an example. Like people go into do Weeping City, clear the first boss, people is like, oh yay, let's leave.
Yeah.
This is basically what World of Warcraft is. It's so bad.
Yeah. And you have to run with a group of people you know, though. I mean, if you run with a group of people you know, is it just too easy? I mean, like, what's...
Oh,
yeah.
But so and like even to say like that's one of the things I really like about Square Enix currently, but I that may not have been done perfectly, is that it's very difficult to get into raiding in Final Fantasy XIV. You need a lot of experience in this game. Like there's a lot of stuff about the backend system that like people who've been raiding this game for a while take for granted, that they know this stuff, like how some of the server latency works, how to correctly dodge stuff, and how to look for certain mechanics, how to do even certain classes interact and stuff like that. A lot of veteran raiders, it's just like that's just like, you always do this stuff. This is what we've been doing forever. But a new player coming into this, they just get destroyed. And that's not necessarily a good thing about Final Fantasy XIV. I wish it was a little bit more intuitive, but like, there is a good example of what going too far looks like.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
People, back when during Living Liquid, actually that was the time where a lot of World of Warcraft players was playing Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Heavensward is a new release. They actually came in. So a lot of feedback that I had. I'm not talking about majority. I'm not like... I don't think this minority speaks up for the whole WoW community. But a lot of people keep saying that Final Fantasy bosses is bullshit. Why would a boss have so many mechanics when suddenly when you do phase transition, not even phase transition, within the same phase, the boss will suddenly throw something new at you? Like, why can't you just like split up Living Liquid into like what WoW did? Make Living Liquid itself like a whole WoW raid. You can split up Living Liquid like 5 bosses and then put some trash mob into it. It would be such a wonderful raid than fighting one boss. I'm like, okay, that's your opinion, right? For us people, we think that this is good. I mean, trash mob at the end of the day is, I mean, although I kind of miss how I'm not fully bashing WoW. Like when I do WoW dungeons, the trash mobs are harder than the bosses. I actually like that. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, it feels like a dungeon. It feels like a raid. But then if you suddenly tell me in Final Fantasy XIV context, if you were to put Living Liquid as a raid with 5 bosses, with 1 mechanic or 1 phase per boss, then I feel that it's really disjointed. Because when I play Final Fantasy, I like how long the boss fight are. I like how much things that we have to learn. And then when we clear one boss, we feel really good. But for them, the mentality is not like that. It's really, really different. And because they want, oh wow, instead of learning this whole fight for 10 minutes, you get 2 loot. We want this boss to break up into 5 bosses so that when we clear each phase, we get a reward. We get a reward. They want it like that. Yeah. So it might be how they prefer it to be done. But don't shit on Final Fantasy XIV, man, because if this game is like that, and if you can't do it, then don't do it. Don't shit on the game. But I agree with Arkk though. A new raid like this new, we welcome these new players to come in, right? But when these new players come in from those games, coming in to see the raids, like not even the raid, maybe even the normal mode, sometimes they will feel like, this is a bit too long. Like Arkk says, this game is not really spoon feeding the new players like how you expect in a raid. Like anybody with some MMO gaming experience, not just WoW by the way, other MMOs is also like that. If you were to play other MMOs, if you were to play WoW, you realize that you will get into it because the boss don't really overwhelm you. Maybe there's a lot of HP. Maybe the more people you have, the more HP you have, the more DPS you have to do. But you don't really get overwhelmed by mechanics. But in Final Fantasy XIV, you kind of get easily overwhelmed. Like it's not uncommon, right? When you do progression, hey, we are in 3.4, let's do raid, woo! And then the moment you do the first pull, the first shit that the boss did, suddenly you just die. Then you are sitting there like, well, I'm not even sure what to expect. And then you go in and then you probably wipe another 5 times. Like new players, generally new players from other MMOs can't accept that. Like they want the first mechanic, they want to see through it. The first mechanic, oh shit, we all get hit, but we all alive. Maybe the second, third time we will then start doing more damage. They want to see something like that. They find Final Fantasy 14 raids, especially Savage raid, like a bit too bullshit. That's what these people think.
Yeah.
And these are the people that shit on Final Fantasy 14 and shit on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Reddit's such a weird place, man. Like, if anyone people hate each other so much for some reason. They hate, especially the top groups. They'll do whatever they can to just say, these guys suck, I hate them, all this stuff. Like, they'll make bad, like, Reddit names just trolling them. And it's like people are just kind of slowly, like, making their way into Reddit just to be really angry at people.
It's just jealousy. Like it's not even like it's not a mystery. People are jealous. Like that's a major issue in MMOs. People like one of the biggest things about MMOs is people are often very, very jealous. Like it's just thrown at them all the time. It's like they have this very specific experience that they're going through, and all these people are kind of bursting their bubbles. It's like, oh, why don't I have all this stuff? It's like, well, you only play 2 hours a week. I'm sorry, you don't have all this stuff. You know? So you have to watch that, because like jealousy is like a big thing about players in MMOs, right? And that's the result of it right there. That's why people act so irrational on Reddit and look at the achievements people make, and it's like. Yeah. And to be fair, sometimes people who have those achievements aren't very good at being transparent in how they achieve them. They lie about how they achieve them. It's like, oh yeah, that took me an hour and it took them like 50 hours, stuff like that. So there's some wrong on both sides. So I really dislike. I like the honesty of like what did you do to achieve this? So if someone else wants to achieve it, they could, right? Yeah. Like show that, right? Yeah.
And I want to clarify too. I mean, there are good things that come out of Reddit too. It's a community, right? You're gonna have these poisonous, venomous little snakes in the corner that's just going to try to spit on everything they can. Then you have people who are going up there creating stuff and putting stuff on Reddit that you want to see, you want to talk about, you want to take part in funny videos. They're like, yeah, this is actually pretty funny, or like guides or stuff like that. There's a lot of good stuff that comes out of Reddit, but I don't know. There's just like this group of like secret want the world to burn people just sitting in the darkness, like making new Reddit usernames and just doing whatever they can to just like destroy everything that they are jealous or they're angry of. And I mean, that's all right. I mean, people do say bad things, and it's appropriate to say bad things. There's sometimes when like someone posts something up and you're like, this is really bad or this is really stupid, and that needs to be said sometimes. But there are just people out there that's like, how can I say something bad about this topic? How can I be angry and hate these people and try to make them look bad? I mean, I guess that's just the internet, but still. It was funny just reading through some of the comments over the last week or so. Okay. Go ahead.
As much as I hate these people so much, not really hate them, like don't like what they say, I actually feel that, dude, this is the best chance, man. If you want to try raiding, and Yoshida keeps saying this next raid here is going to be easier, go try. Raiding is, I think it's safe to say now that raiding is going to be part of Final Fantasy 14 from now on, because they are not going to get much more really, really new people trying to play this game, which is already, by 4.0, will be 4 years old. So eventually, I think that this game will cater a lot for the mid-game, end-game. But in order for this game to evolve to the stage, the community itself needs to step up. I think that more people to raid, more people to put up the numbers, the clear rate, I think eventually will help everybody and say, okay, when Yoshida, if let's just say the creator was so easy, and everybody like Reddit, what people Reddit claims, their mom and their grandma step out of the closet and start doing creator, and then they clear it. I mean, good for you. I mean, I know there's a lot of petty, like Arkk says, people who are jealous, and especially people who are petty. Like, I've cleared this. You don't deserve to clear this. But for some reason, because they make this raid easier, then suddenly you can clear it. Now you are like my tier. There's people out there who's like really petty and say, no, I don't want this to happen. But look at the bright side. If we have more raiders, more people willing to raid, and then we boost the numbers, we show Yoshida the numbers is up there. It's, if let's say 50% of the people, this is a long shot, 50% of the people clear creator, Yoshida will look at the numbers and say, fuck, did we do this thing too easily? And then they will realize, okay, so this type of content, 50% of the people do it. We're going to create something hard and maybe challenge 50% of these 50% of the people. So the next raid tier we want to make is going to be more difficult. Instead of looking at 50% clear, we want to get 25. Then you start to see the community getting better. Then they can start making more mid-core end content. Not sitting here and complain, say, wow, this is so easy, I'm not going to do it. This is so easy, everybody can do it, and then don't do it, and then complain the game. That's how the game can't evolve, you know. And interestingly, the most recent interview, Yoshida actually said this, finally, although he kind of stretched it a little. He basically says that he wants to make a Final Fantasy he likes, but he can't do it now because there's too many casual players now that, like, he said the concept time to win, like the relic concept. You know, you spend more time, you get the reward, aka the relic, and then eventually it's so good, you know, you pay time to win, right? But they can't do it right now because they already done it in the anima, in the relic, and they realize it's not working. People doesn't like it, and there's also people who doesn't like putting time to do it. So he feels that the community is split. He can't do it, but he says maybe in another 10 years, holy shit, 10 years, when the leftover people are the people who really care about the game, then he can do it his way. He can bring him a new team. He can do grinds. He can like wow, drop legendary. Dude, I've been playing World of Warcraft the last 3 weeks. I still haven't seen a legendary. I mean, as much as I bash the game, but after putting so much effort in it, I want to see a legendary. So, but not everybody would think like me in WoW, right? Nobody wants that. I don't want to spend so much time. So right now he's just waiting for all these people to flush out. Then eventually we can see this. But I mean, we can all start somewhere, you know, raid together. Like earlier I saw Mary posting like maybe he should, you know, start raiding. I'm like, dude, you must do it, man. Raiding is part of Final Fantasy. Especially
even if it's like a small casual group, it's still fun, right?
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to offend you, Frosty. Like I always tell people, I hate the fucking casuals.
I know.
But I mean, I'm sorry to say, maybe Frosty is a casual raider, but Frosty tried. Even after 6 months, because of the logistic issue, because of the schedule, he managed to go at it. Maybe he couldn't clear this patch, but he is a casual that is trying, rather than casual and not trying and ask for a lot of Verminion type of shit. Like, if everybody would raid, you will realize that raiding is not that difficult. Especially you realize turn 1 and turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
You realize in Midas, no, Alexander, you realize that turn 1 and turn 2 they have been making, except for turn 2 pre-nerf in Midas, you realize that they have been really welcoming people to get a shot. At least you will clear turn 1. Not that difficult. Everybody, like Reddit says, everyone and your mom should clear turn 1. And then from there on, you gain momentum. You might, you don't know, you might want more yourself. Hopefully everybody raids. I can sit here and say all day, but I just hope everybody raids.
Yeah, it's part of the game. Another thing about Frosty is like they're always having a good time in there, right? You know, when they
not
do the
always.
Raids,
Okay, look, we do have our
I
bad
shouldn't say
nights.
always. That's absolutes are bad. Usually, yes. Yeah. But usually having a very good time. It's really like, you know, it's an enjoyable experience to watch sometimes. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love
But I like that kind of atmosphere.
I mean, I that's the kind of atmosphere I want to like have too. It's like I want to bring people into the group, and I want us to say, "Hey, at the end of the night, I kind of had fun. We tried and we did stuff." It sucks when you don't get a clear at the end of the night, no matter what group you're in. You're always going to be upset. You're always going to be angry, but you feel good at the clear. It's always really good when you do that clear, and it makes it feel a lot better.
I mean, look at it this way, though. Like Frosty as a raid leader, I think it's true that even though you don't clear, as long as you bring somebody into raid, at the end of the day, when you go out of the raid, you are a better player. You might want more, you might not, but you know how it feels. I think you will come out a better player.
It gives people who can talk about raiding, right? It gives Frosty specific experiences that we can talk to him. It's not like I don't learn things from Frosty because he hasn't like cleared A8S or something like that, right? Like there's stuff I can learn from him. I talk to him, and there's it's nice. It's nice to have more raiders to talk about and
that's just the way that we approach it. And the average person who plays this game has, situations to where they can't raid a lot. They raid a few times a week. They do what they can, and then you have the people who raid really hard all the time. I like to think that maybe I'm coming at this at an angle that like most of the people who play this game come at. Although I have a kind of a fortunate degree of like experience with talking to people and like seeing a lot of different experiences with people clearing raids fast or how they're going at it. So I do have sort of like that sort of advantage to it, but it doesn't really help me that much. I still have to be a good player. And so does the rest of my team. They have to do good. And then I have to try to find ways to make it to where my team can clear with us playing raid logging on raid nights. Just like
Yeah.
Getting to that point, it's rough.
I really like the direction Final Fantasy XIV is going though, because it's one of the few games that out there still that can do it, which is they want to. I know that dumbing down rotations. I know people can be on both sides of that, but I actually kind of like that it's easier for us to play more jobs and it's less distracting for us to play those jobs and more intuitive. That's good for new players coming in, and I also like that they're gonna make fights difficult based on mechanics, because you can't really do that in WoW anymore because the Dungeon Journal, they tell you all the mechanics, and there's some other games where it's just gear and DPS checks, which I've never found fun in MMO rating. Like that kind of rating is I always prefer interesting mechanics. So the puzzle of a fight, the team jump rope, the team coordination, the uniqueness of your group and how you can deal with those mechanics. It sounds like they want to focus on more fights like that. It sounds like what this tier is going to be coming into is what they're going to do as well. And the great thing about that is it's probably the best solution you can have, because people will put out guides, people will be able to explain how each of these mechanics work, and you don't have to be a god on your class, you don't have to have a shit ton of experience on your class to be able to help a group clear it, even if they don't have that kind of experience in their classes. So I really like the direction they're going. I keep saying I have high hopes for 4.0. I hope they don't screw it up, because I really expect a lot from what they're planning to do, from what they've said. So.
Yeah, I mean, if they bring rotations sort of back to where it was in 2.0, I'd kind of be okay with it. Right now, every rotation is really advanced.
Some classes in 2.0 were terrible. Like I love
the Paladin was terrible.
Rotation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
yeah. I honestly like some of the changes to Bard too. I'd like more options for ability, but they're really not that bad. It's just, again, it's not necessarily super intuitive, right? That you have to use the cross that skill and some other stuff, right? But and some of the other classes too. I like what the changes they made. I really like them a lot. In fact, I can't even play them at 50 anymore because they're like, oh my goodness, it's just spam one rotation.
Right.
What the kind of stuff I think that we're likely going to see is things like, visuals for procs, or more passive things that trigger automatically, things that are not, like, for example, like I use Summoner as an example, things that don't make you just lose your ether flow when you screw up or something like that,
right.
Or more things that are like a meter. Like another one I was saying is for ninjas, if they just had like a ninjutsu power meter that if you screw up you lose some, but you can charge it up, right? So it's not so bad when you lose your ninjutsu. You can't get locked out of putting a Puton and stuff like that. Things like this that are a little bit, make it so when you screw up, it's not as devastating to your class.
Yeah,
you're more likely
like the one I really hope that will happen, like your trick attack. Sometimes you might be whether you are not careful or your tank just happen to wanna
it's rough.
Maybe you trick attack from the front or the side. Okay, we don't get a full potency, but at least we apply the damage now. Some stuff like this.
It happens outside of our control, and I sometimes just like it. Like when you're playing with your static, very rare. But when you're not playing with your static, some tanks are a little jerky, or sometimes you gotta be.
And so, I mean, I'm okay if they make more fights, make more interesting fights, and have to focus less on class balance because it's a little bit more simplified. Because right now, it's like how they dive deeper and deeper into these jobs, so they make them more complicated. It's harder for them to balance, and they have to spend all this time focusing on that. And I'm kind of okay. I mean, I know you want to be skilled. You want to say, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. I'm way better than everyone else because I can do this advanced set of clicking buttons and doing my rotation properly and managing with the different situation to output the most damage. That's awesome, but at the same time, I want fights that I have to constantly look at the fight, not my keyboard.
That's be a melee DPS on a fight where you can't even attack the boss. Stuff like that happens. Like it's not your knowledge of your class isn't like the most important thing. It's your knowledge of the fight that's the most important, and that's something that I think. That's the uniqueness of what Final Fantasy XIV is going to have. As long as they hold on to that cool mechanics, make it more about the fight, less about the class that you bring in, that'll probably take off some of the pressure of balancing. So you can have some broken classes, you can have some underpowered classes, and it really won't matter. It's like, oh, this class is underpowered on this particular fight or this tier. We'll just make them do more of the mechanics, or hopefully they're able to adapt to more mechanics, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you really just pick whatever comp you want, play what you want, and it's a lot easier to do that. Even now, it's kind of like that, but they want to push more for that, and I like that. They're really focusing on their strengths.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, back to talking about World of Warcraft, I feel that like Final Fantasy XIV, people keep saying that the 2.5 GCD is too long. After playing World of Warcraft, it's really fast. You are like literally mashing your keyboard, but that might be one of the problem why people can't even look at one mechanic. They are so focused on making sure everything is right, and then they might just miss out something that is even more cool or important. For Final Fantasy XIV, GCD is 2.5 seconds, but after playing both games, I kind of appreciate 2.5 seconds, not because I'm bad, it's because when Final Fantasy XIV make you do 2.5 second GCD, most or likely in between you have some mechanic to look out for, and rather than just mashing your keyboard, doing one mechanic, Final Fantasy XIV makes you do proper rotation, and at the same time do mechanic. And I think that's really one of the things that I like about 14 at the moment. When I do research playing these other games, these are stuff that I start to appreciate when I play back 14.
Yeah. And when I said keyboard, I mean I kind of mean more buffs than anything else. I don't know kind of why I said keyboard. Usually you shouldn't be looking at your keyboard.
I should have caught you on that.
You should have caught me.
You look at your keyboard, it's like, where's my E key?
Yeah, where's the E? Where do I go at? Yeah. So my bad. Yeah.
Where's the space bar? I need to jump here.
Yeah. Hey, where's the space bar? If you're ever asking where's the space bar, I think you probably just need to get rid of your computer. But yeah, there's so much we can go into, and we kind of went a little bit off topic here going into this, but it got a little heated there. It's all right. Was there anything, Arthars? They posted that new thing. Yoshida came out and clarified a few things. I think we kind of went over it. Was there anything that we kind of missed with that you wanted to talk about? I know you mentioned that before the show.
Basically, it's about the raid going to be easier. Not specifically targeting to challenge the world first. Doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, mainly. But I think after I actually wrote something to want to clarify. But I'm glad Yoshida talked about in the latest interview though, when he talked about what he means. He said, I want to clear the misunderstanding. It's gonna still take weeks, and even with crafted gears, most people, except for the world first class 1%. Other than them, everybody will still find yourself having a challenge, taking a few weeks, a few months. So I think he kind of cleared it up. It's just that when people saw my post, I actually just clicked Twitter. You can only post like 100 over characters. That's so much I can type. And I don't know that everybody is watching. So yeah, at least he cleared up. So yeah, that should be okay now.
Okay, good.
Actually, I haven't revisited the thread. Did everybody like calm down a little?
I didn't look at it. I mean, I saw it, and then I had a good laugh about it, and then it was done.
I saw the post. I'm like, oh, I know all the cliche responses you're going to get, and I was looking, I'm like, yeah, there they all are.
Did you say cliche?
Okay. And then I just stopped.
Did you say cliche?
Yeah,
Arkk?
exactly.
Cliche.
You pulled a Frosty on that one, man. That's pretty bad. But no, like I saw it, and then as soon as like I got that post and they notified me, hey, this is what's fact now. This is information that was out there. Later that day, you just sent me another post. You're like, did you see? It's like,
yeah, I did. We need to clarify this.
We need to talk about this. And it's just like, yeah. I could have saw that coming. All right, so we're gonna jump a little bit into the world first race, and we don't have a lot to talk about. There's not a huge public scene about the world first race right now. We know simple things. We know like Elysium was world first in the like last 2 tiers. Almost had it in T13, but Lucrezia was around and they got it right before him. And I think it's exciting to see this stuff. Lucrezia is now out of the picture, and we have a lot of different EU groups that are coming up. And the EU groups are dealing with better servers now, and so they have better of a chance. Last tier, they got better servers right before the tier happened, and they were all kind of adjusting to it. And there's some groups out there that could be very competitive with this world first race. And I'm interested to see it. I'm always excited to see it because this is like the most competitive thing we can get out of Final Fantasy XIV, right? PvP, there's so much stuff that I could go into about that. I love PvP. It's a lot of fun, but it's when you get to the competitive hardcore level of it, there becomes other factors besides being good at PvP that make it not as fun if you want to be at the top of the leaderboard. So
some of that stuff is in every PvP game, for the record, but it's not necessarily and it's not necessarily better in this game than any others.
But this world first racing is a little bit more pure because you have to kind of be on your toes, and you can't really cheese it too much because that's public stuff that people will see. Well, I mean, eventually it will happen, and we won't go too much into it, but the world first raiders, usually aren't going to risk that. And if they do, it's going to be kind of on them, and no one's going to take it seriously. It's going to be considered illegitimate, all that good stuff. But there's a really healthy scene going on right now. I don't know anything about the JP side of World First, but Arthas, you have a little bit of insight about it. Now, here's the thing. In JP, they don't say, hey, I'm going for World First, right? No one says that. It's not a thing.
Yeah. I mean, of course, every raider, if they were to, I mean, let's just say, for example, during Gordius and Midas, I think, who got the second? It was a JP group, right? I think. So, yeah. I mean, I feel that these people, inside them, of course, they feel that maybe we have a shot at World First, but I don't think they will be out there declaring that, okay, we will be in the race. You know, we are going at it. Not like Lucrezia. Lucrezia is really a special bunch of people. Like, the JPs wouldn't even call them like, oh, they are doing, basically, we call Lucrezia like going westernized. So, even they are JP, they are sort of like, no. Basically, the way they rate and work is westernized, because JP don't really have time for that. But not saying that they don't do it though. Like I wouldn't be surprised any patch that say suddenly a JP random group. You know, they don't have names, right? Like again, Lucrezia was the only JP group that had a name. Like I wouldn't be surprised if another JP group would have come out and suddenly get maybe not first. I think first is very difficult for JP, especially when Chocobo, especially when the server comes up, probably the first 6 hours you're not going to log in. And after the 6 hours, those people probably need to work the next day. They know the server is going to go down. They're not going to take a leave. They're not going to take a day and say, okay, I'm going to stay at home tomorrow to unlock things. Because it's already too late. The World First people, by the second day, 12 hours later, probably we have cleared turn 1 and turn 2 already. While the JPs, some of us, like during Midas, some of us only get to log in on the second day to do normal mode, to actually get access to Savage. So a lot, for some reason though, at the live letter, etc., I haven't seen any JP come up and ask, Yoshida, do you have any plans for changing the maintenance time? Because right now, maintenance time is always ends at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Japanese time, which is almost impossible to log in for Chocobo. Always goes down at least 5-6 hours. Even if I can get in, my static can't get in. Right. I'm the guy that always press the insert key, right? Yeah. But they are not like that, you know. So I'm surprised people haven't come up and asked that. Because if you were to shift the maintenance to say, okay, people who cap on day one, people who any JP who wants to go for World First, maybe put the maintenance up at like say midnight JP. You're still looking at a very comfortable time for the NA, right? It's like for example, Eastern is like 12 noon, right? I think it's comfortable as well. More people can so-called take part. I mean, if you want to have a fun race, there must be people in the race. Right. Like, if Elysium were to always get World First, I don't think they will be sitting there and be like, we are so fucking awesome. They want a challenge. I'm pretty sure everybody wants a challenge, right? So why haven't a JP come out and asked for this? Is it because they don't care for World First, or they just...
See, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like it doesn't matter what culture, what anything, there's competitive nature. That's part of like anything. Like you're going to be competitive and you want to go out there and you want to beat it. Now, I can understand people naturally wanting to be shy about it and say no, because that means if you lose, I wasn't trying anyways. It doesn't matter. So that's fine. But people going out there and saying, hey, I'm going to try to win. I'm going to do my best. That's exciting. I want to see this stuff. And it's sad that we don't have any kind of public scene of seeing that from the JP side. We see it a lot in EU, definitely this tier, and I've seen it a handful in the NA side. Now, understand, I can't do World First for many reasons besides time schedule, but I don't have a time schedule for it. You have to have a proper time schedule. You need to take off work for like a week or so. I mean, it's something that's difficult. And this scene, I would want it to be more popular or popularized. How do I say that? Popularized? More popular. Let's go with more popular, all right? I would like to see that because that means that it's more public, and the people who do track this stuff in like major gaming news can track it more, and then there becomes things like maybe little sponsorships and stuff for these teams who are going out there and doing it, making it worthwhile to take off a week of work and do this stuff, and people will go out there and try to be semi-professional, like Final Fantasy 14 players, because I mean World of Warcraft works like that, don't they? They have major teams out there that has people sponsored. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the scene, but that's what I assume, because it's a huge game, and there's always been a healthy competition between EU and NA with World First. And so I kind of
I
want to
think
see
more
them
of
like that.
I think this time it will still be a NAEU race, because especially what you said earlier, the EU now have their own server. Now they are I would say they are still in transition. During Midas, I would say they are still in transition, because a lot of people that were in EU were in NA statics, right? So when you go into a new server, will they want to risk? Because NA statics, I mean, not just NA and EU statics is everything. It's not like, okay, I'm going to quit my group, I'm going to get another group easy. Whether I can get the same group that's as dedicated as my current group. Not many people want to risk it. And then the server sadly comes after that. So a lot of EU still doesn't like want to, detach from their current static or something and go back to the more powerful server and start a static with better latency. So this time things might shape up better. So I think it's going to be an NAU race.
Yeah.
Like the JP, I'm not sure. Again, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised some groups suddenly just come out and then suddenly they clear it. But I just can't see it happening. The way I look at the people around me, even on Chocobo, the amount of people we have cleared, the amount of people that have cleared on our server, none of them is like, oh shit, man, let's form this and do this 24/7. No, maybe 20 hours a day, first day, to let's get it down. Most of them wants to clear it ASAP so that they can go back to their normal life, like working, etc.
Right.
Because they don't. I have never, except for Lucrezia, I have never heard of any JP that take off days just to raid. They are usually super cool. Like they are just too chill that I'm not a JP, but I play in the JP server, and I'm a very competitive guy. I used to be a competitive, but now that I play with the JP community, I cannot find the group myself that is like, holy shit, anybody want to, server comes up, unlock the content, let's go hard at it. I have never seen anybody who wants that. Even for my Chocobo, even for our Chocobo first group, my friend we play every day. He will randomly just tell me to do raids. Even them doesn't have this mentality like, yo, let's do it. So what do you guys usually tackle? So he says that, okay, we just make sure that we have a static that can raid X amount of time every day. We clear within X amount of weeks, and then we can go back to our real life. We can go back to work. We can set one day just for raiding. Like, okay, and no one wants to like super go at it, and then they're like, nah, not worth the time. I mean, even if I want to, I can't get my days off. But unless you're a high school student or maybe not working, maybe you can. Like, I know during the final call, a lot of Lucrezia people are like that, so they manage to do it. Like you see, the moment they have a little bit of drama, and JP static don't usually last more than a major raid patch, about 6 months. They always like to reform, likes to play with new people. Like one patch, you will see some people going for first unrealistic targets, like the world first type of targets, and then the next raid here they will be like just doing parks. They are not even in the static. So the way they work is really different. It changes really fast. So statics also change really fast. That's what happened. That is also one of the reasons why Lucrezia were to break up. I wouldn't say they break up. I would just say that real life caught up to them, and then maybe somebody found a job and just can't raid anymore. I just think that's what Lucrezia, at the end of the day, those people are still JP, and this is what caught up to them. Maybe it's a culture thingy that they just can't, or very difficult for them to form a group of 8 people willing to be that committed, especially with the real life issue they have, or maybe it's just they are not motivated. But like you say, I think everybody who wants to do it, who wants to raid that fast, even like the JP that we talk about, they get roasted or something. I think these people still put in a lot of effort, and I think they still think that they could have done it, just that they didn't come out and think or tell everybody that, yo, we are here to do it. So okay, I think that's how the JP handle the race.
More likely, they want to try to go really hard at it, but they don't let their life obligations drop. And so they know that they don't have a competitive advantage because other people do let these things drop, and they're like, this is what I'm going to completely focus on this entire time. But they don't do that, and so they feel it's unrealistic to say, hey, I'm competing for world first. Is that kind of like what you're thinking, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Arkk, as basically a spectator of all this, what do you get excited for world first? Are you like, hey, I want to see what's happening here, just I mean, not partake in it, but just watch it and see what people are doing? What's your thoughts on world first race?
My interest in what World First groups do is more along the lines of what did they learn, like their experiences as far as like how did they try to approach mechanic? What do they know about the mechanics? How did they use certain classes on things? How did they get over limitations like gear and stuff like that? Like, I like it as like a method of like kind of adding more knowledge to like my toolkit of like things that you can do when you're in a situation similar to this. Like that's my curiosity with it. The whole taking a lot of time off to like clear content as fast as possible. Like it's fun for the competitive part, but I'm just not that competitive, so I wouldn't actually find it fun. So like I want to do these raids and enjoy them as I do them. So it's like it's not really for me. It's not something like I'm ever really interested in or anything like that. But I do like hearing about like, oh, this is how we initially thought this worked, or we couldn't get past this because we didn't know how it worked, or we didn't have enough gear, so we did this instead. Like I love hearing about that kind of experiences and stuff like that, which you only get in like the first couple weeks, things like that.
When I was like really hardcore into StarCraft, I mean, there's so many outlets of competition that you could watch for StarCraft, and it was really interesting to see this stuff. When you compare that in a way, it's hard to compare it to because this is like a once every 6 months. There's like a real competition for it, right? But when you compare this stuff, I loved watching streams and competitions with people doing StarCraft because I could watch what they're doing and everything during the actual fight. You can't see that with World First Racing. You could just kind of see it after the fact. So going into it, it makes it a little bit harder to be as invested with what's going on. But just watching it and seeing this race happen is kind of like, I guess, reading about the Olympics, right? And then eventually going back and watching it. And so yeah, which is kind of interesting to a point, and so I can see where it's not quite there, but still, this is what Final Fantasy has. I mean, I don't get excited about PvP tournaments. I don't get excited about Triple Triad tournaments. I don't get excited about Lords of Verminion, tournaments. I get excited about World First, and this is what I'm going to be going for. So,
and it's kind of also nice to know because at least with the groups that have been getting World First in Heavensward, their rate kind of gives me a good idea of how long it's going to take my group to clear something. Like it's like, oh, World First cleared it in a week. Oh, so it's probably 4 to 6 weeks for us or something like that, right? It's like, because I know about how much time they put into it. I know what things made them have to put more time into. In some cases, was their gear check here? Was their mechanic they didn't know how to work? And it's like, it took us 20 hours to figure out this mechanic and 40 hours to kill the fight. And it's like, well, we already know what the mechanic is now. So, potentially we just need to put in at least 20 hours if there was no other like major gear checks or anything. Maybe it'll even take us less time because they got hit stuck in a gear wall. So it's like that's the stuff I'm listening for. Is like a good are we on pace? Are we on pace? Like, is there what kind of things do we need to do to improve? And so it's very useful. It's very useful. It's just like not something I would do, but they're like I really respect the information I get from them.
Yeah. And so when I started a list of people who are going out there, and they would say, hey, I am trying for World First. People who are saying this. And obviously people are going to come to me and say, yeah, I'm trying for World First. And they'll put their fake name up there and everything else. And I try to filter it, but there's no way for me to filter it. I won't know who's actually competing in World First until it happens. Other than the people who are for sure, like Elysium. They have 3 groups competing in World First right now. We know that for a fact they're doing that. And then we have Angered and Solitude from EU. They're both going to try for World First in some way or another. And they both have 2 groups of their own. And regardless of all the BS drama that might happen behind the scenes, they're all very anxious to win. And at the end of the day, they might be upset that they didn't win, and they might be angry. And that's okay, because that's competitive. That's what happens. People could be more toxic than others, but, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, no one can prevent anyone from being toxic, right? So it's really interesting to see. These are the 3 big groups that I know about that have competed in World First in the previous events, and they all have like a solid attempt here. We also have some other ones from like Sargatanis. We have some people from Diablos. There's somebody who's put in a team from Solera. I don't know how legitimate that is, but they did it. And then,
maybe they thought you are going for server first.
Maybe it's server first. Maybe that's kind of what the focus is there. Because, I mean, it's kind of interesting to watch server first, too, but it's hard to keep up with all that, especially when some servers didn't have the first A8S clear until like a week ago. So
that's what server first means. Yeah, it's
and so it's kind of hard to keep that. But the world first part
something to that server. It means something to that server. Yeah.
And there are some other people like Blacklist and Black Hope, which people will laugh, and I don't know. There's people who hate them in some sort of regard. Some people like them in some regard, and they've done good stuff. We've thought that maybe Black Hope wasn't going to be in there for the EU part of the race either, but they are actually competing. And I just got that confirmation just a little bit ago, and so it's interesting to see this. I'm happy to see there's at least this amount of people who are going to go out there and dedicate their time to saying, I'm going to try to beat all these other groups out there. I guarantee you I'm going to get posts from JP groups that clear it, and they might get world second or world third or maybe even world first. I don't know. But I'm going to have to wait till the Twitter post is, because they're not going to declare, hey, I'm going for world first. They're just going to post
like
it.
When JP, like during Midas, no wait, Midas and Gordius, when the JP group came out and I think got third, everybody is like, huh? Who is this guy? You know, there was this Chocobo group, right? I think got world third in Gordius. The people that I told you that were raiding actively, and those people that got server first in Chocobo, like when we see that Chocobo group name list posted on Twitter, 9 out of 10 of us is like, we don't even know these guys. We don't even know these guys is in our server, you know? These guys just happen to be there. And then like, oh, so we have people that was trying on our server. No one even knew. And then they don't even have a name. Like when Elysium cleared, EM cleared. You know, when Lucrezia cleared, Lucrezia of Alexander cleared. And then suddenly for the Chocobo group, people is basically, that Chocobo
Party Finder group.
Chocobo group got world third. And then all of us is like, I've never even seen this guy raid before or in a Party Finder. Where did these guys come from? And then surprisingly, when you go to Midas, these 8 people suddenly just disappear out of the race. You never even see them raid anymore. And then like in Gordius, I will have we have this so-called Chocobo #1 park group that always park when the raid starts, you know, to get more people to practice. And then suddenly you have this guy who is like server first, living liquid, and then suddenly in Midas he would just be gone. Suddenly on the last 2 months of 3.2, then he start looking for progressing turn 6. Then you're like, this guy, I'm not saying maybe no consistency, maybe just doesn't have the time, but they're just, the JP community when it comes to this race is just everywhere. We don't know any specific individual. Like you say, until posted on Twitter will just suddenly come out. These 8 guys have cleared world second, world third, or even world first. Suddenly you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, shall we even take these 8 guys seriously the next patch? Because probably the next patch, these 8 guys wouldn't be there, you know? So it's like that. Like there's no solid identity in the JP community that is going for the first. And I think that is sad to see, because I would love to see, like people always say, right? Oh, JP be greater than NA greater than JP, EU greater than NA, like. I would love to see, because this game, everybody starts together, right? The 3 main continents. So I would love to see one day the JP will get back to it.
And I hope that maybe with more coverage and people paying attention to it, that maybe people on the JP servers are like, hey, it might be kind of interesting to join a competition that's actually being watched, or that that's a legitimate competition out there, right? Maybe if there was more out there saying, hey, this is something that's kind of sort of a big deal, people might try to go for it. And then they might publicly say it. And we might have more Lucrezias, and we might have more of those over on the JP side, but we have to see and wait. But okay, so I'm really excited for this. I'll post this link in the chat for everybody here that wants to watch it. This will completely evolve as soon as patch gets released, and some of these names will completely fall off. Other names will pop up out of nowhere. Some groups will not have names, but it's the best way I can think to keep track of it. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens going into the next week. And I'm hoping it ends in a week. I don't want to track this for 2-3 weeks. I want it to be done 1 week, and I'm done. I'm going to TwitchCon. You know what? Maybe I'm not going to TwitchCon, guys. Maybe I'm just disappearing and not streaming, and then you see me 3 days later, world first Frosty group out of nowhere, right? Yeah, no, not happening. But yeah, there's going to be some of those groups that are going to be like that. They come out of nowhere, and I'm excited to see that. And I hope that we do see people like that. But Okay, so the other part that I want to discuss here is quick random predictions here that you guys probably have no base or information on about who might have a good chance. Who are you rooting for? What are you thinking about Arkk? Sorry, Shake, I don't want to say anything.
I can say something. I just really only know like one world first group, basically.
Okay, Arkk.
I guess I know a couple, but
who are you saying? Hey, I want to see win.
Well, like I always have a lot of respect for like Layla and the members in this group, specifically because of how good they are at figuring out mechanics, like and they're like the raiding mentality that kind of Layla tends to speak about. Like it's really like they do have a lot of fun when they do it, and I love how fast they can figure out mechanics. It's like really smart style of raiding. It's not it's very clear that they're not just brute forcing their way through stuff. So. That observation may be totally incorrect, but that's the only reason why. Yeah, I still really like those guys a lot. So.
Okay, Arthars.
Well, I mean, clearly you just can't write off Layla's group, but right now, what I want now is based on nothing, right? What I want to see, I really want to see the group that Muniform. With I think with Happy and something, the casual group somehow still managed to get world first. I think that would be like fucking blow everybody's
I can't see it happening.
But I think everybody is like, yeah.
You know why I'm shooting that idea down? It's because I know Happy's going to TwitchCon. He's a professional streamer. He has to go to TwitchCon. There's no way that his schedule could fit that in there. That's the only reason. Maybe. So it's kind of interesting to see that too. Layla and Goka have the most respect I've ever had for not the most out of everybody. I respect a lot of people who come on the show, but they have a lot of respect for when they came on the show. They always have great input. They're always awesome. I would be content with seeing them win again, but I want to see a team from JP come out and say, "Hey, we're team F you, screw you, I don't give a shit, and we're from FC so-and-so." I want to see that come out of JP. I want to see that just happen, right?
How can I put it? The respect is there for the Elysiums, definitely out there. But I think there was too much respect because like our Chocobo first clear, which was world 4th, I think. They just suddenly like when I talk to them, they're like, "Oh shit, Arthars, you are playing Overwatch with Muni Senpai." I was like, "Why do you call him Muni Senpai?" "Oh, Layla, Rinchan, Muni, they are all like freaking gods, man. Like world first, and they are playing so good. Like we heard I didn't even know that. Then they are like, "Oh, we heard that Muni is from EU playing at NA server with the lag, able to place level." I was like, "Oh shit, so much respect. Why don't you guys one day just jump on the race and then like blow them away and then be the new senpai," right? They're like, no. Such respect, I'm like, too much respect. Yeah, like I would love to see a JP one day just come out and I mean, they are my friends, like part of the Twitch and FF community. Lots of respect, but it would be really funny to see what you just said. That one JP group suddenly just disregard all sorts of respect and just came out and like shit on.
Yeah. I want to see that. I want to see that come out. I want to say, yeah, NA and EU, what? Look at my balls. I'm bigger than you. I got the clear first. And just like go crazy. That would be great to me because that means that there's a competition in the scene and that it's actually fun and enjoyable. I want to see that in some respect or regard. And I definitely want to see EU kind of hit the top of the charts too because we're at a spot to where they can do it. So any team from any server that offers a competition, I'm rooting for. Anyone that's like, even if they're just like a day behind, or you know what, I would love to see like within like a lockout difference that someone gets a world second. This was a good race. That's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see how it turns out. Man, I'm looking forward to this race. I hope that you guys kind of watch it too and take part in it, and that this becomes something a little bit bigger for when 4.0 comes out and we start having these races. And hopefully it's not another Gordius in 4.0 when it first comes out, but we'll see. Because Gordius will drive people away. And, to go back a little bit on a tangent here, when we're talking about these releases of expansions and, a lot of WoW players came in with Living Liquid, right? And they had to deal with that. So with WoW, they grew. Every expansion, they grew some until they hit Wrath of the Lich King, and then they start to go down. If Final Fantasy could step out of their universe just a little bit, or not out of the universe completely, but out of the main story that's happening within this game, and promote something that would bring in other players, like Arthas, Arthas, or I don't know how to say the difference between your name and his name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The Lich King, right? If you could bring another character like him, and people would have to fight him in this next expansion, then it would become something that could help grow the game, and they could start off on a good note with a decent raid that people can enter. But
wait, what?
What? You think I'm crazy?
Are you talking about a collaboration between WoW?
No, not collaboration, but like a character within Final Fantasy that people would want to beat. They're like, hey, I want to kill this Omega Prime Ruby weapon or something. I don't know, huh?
Yeah, they're doing it already, right? Like with your Bahamut and with your Alexander, I think it's kind of that concept, because I don't think they want to bring back a specific individual back in, but I think they want to make like Primals or Avatar. Yeah, it's always been the big thing in Final Fantasy. Like I'm actually also curious, what are we getting in Raid 4.0? Because the two biggest thing that we know is Bahamut and Alexander is already in. What are we gonna get in 4.0? I'm actually very curious. Will it be something that, like you say, will bring back a lot of people? Will bring a lot of people coming back in. At the same time, though, I don't really like the idea of bringing new players in. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Okay.
I want the current people to grow.
I agree with you if the money's not going to Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, you mean if it's going to like Final Fantasy 15 instead?
Yeah. But if I'd like to see more growth from Final Fantasy 14 and support, then keeping new players happy and making sure they can come into the thing makes a lot of sense to me, because the game's growing because of it. But it sucks when it's like, where you're getting neither. But I don't know. I'm always a big fan of bringing in new players. It's like, hey, this experience, as long as they have a good attitude, they're actually interested.
Yeah. Not the fucking casuals. Yeah, people who care. I mean, some of my viewers, they would just come in at 3.1, ask me about how the game goes. Oh, how is this game? I'm like, are you just gonna stick around? I'll just feed you some information. And the next thing you know, in 3.2, 3.3, they cleared Alexander's Midas Savage turn 4. I'm like, dude, if there's one thing about some of these players, is that I really hope to see that these are the players that will come into the game, rather than those people who are just like 4.0 is a very slippery slope. I think that there will be a lot of new people coming in because it's a new expansion, just like 2.0, just like 3.0, and I'm afraid that because too many people come in, and then also means that too many people will quit the game. So that's why when I just now say earlier, I hope that we don't have too much people coming. I don't necessarily mean that I don't want to see the game grow. I just mean that I hope that people who care comes in. Like as of this point in 4.0 onwards, it's already fourth year already by next year. I hope that by 4.0 onward, the people that we are getting are people who cares, and then the people who remains are the people who wants to care more. And for people like us who already cared, hopefully that we have those people who care more to come and challenge us. Like if we were to talk about World First, like you say, there's so little groups, right? What if there is some new player, some new fresh blood into the game that is wanting to challenge? Because at the end of the day, the race is only fun if there are racers in it. And right now, there's not much. So hope that the current player base will grow, rather. Because if you get new influx of players, there's the very minority that there will be the few that will become that type of players. But if your current player who are already cared to play through 2.0 or even 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, these people generally is caring. I would love to much more see these people take up the next step, try some raiding, and then eventually come
bring
in
people
and
in who love Final Fantasy. So you put popular Final Fantasy characters into the game and pull people in. Kefka, man. Just bring Kefka.
We'll see how amazing it is, but I can't wait to see what they do with swimming in 4.0 as well.
Oh yeah, swimming fights.
I hope the worlds become I hope the zones become okay. I don't know about that.
Swimming boss fights could be interesting, man. It depends on how they implement swimming. So
yeah, the water, right? I would love to see that. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, there is some underwater. Swimming is rarely done well in MMOs. I just would like the zones to become a little bit more immersive. And I've already made that joke, so I won't.
Immerse into water. Yeah. Okay, good.
But yeah, that's cool. I can't wait.
All right, we're going to get to the question section now, and we don't have to put long answers into these. Put just like shotgun these questions, kind of go through them, just the best way you know how. And so I'm going to ask some of these a little bit more serious questions. And some of this goes back into earlier parts of the episode, and we'll just go back to it. If it's already a complete repeat of something we talked about, we might skip it. But I didn't read this question at all before I'm asking it, so hopefully it's not a repeat. So let's read it. Panda Bits, do you think that the Astro buffs in 3.4 seem unfair to White Mage because the other foot to drop? Well, the other foot to drop. I'm trying to understand that reference. All right. Namely, Scholar nerfs in 4.0 haven't come yet. Oh, okay, so I get it. So, do you think that the Astro buffs seem unfair to White Mage because Scholar has not been nerfed? I would say no, because I don't feel like that the buffs are going to push out White Mage, because people are going to still play White Mage. People still play Paladin, because it's kind of a safe job, even though everyone declares Paladin is bad and so and so and so and so. I think the worst case scenario is White Mage might be put in that same scenario.
A lot of things that you see healers doing now, or a lot of players, is that they don't just play one job, you know, and that's hard for people who don't have a lot of time. I totally understand that, but that's one of the things that 4.0 is going to change. It's going to take less time to be good at multiple roles. It's not something that needs to be a concern or can be unfair anymore, because it'll be a lot easier to swap between roles in 4.0. So whatever changes they make to any other healers, which they'll be balancing to all the healers, not just Scholars. In fact, they probably won't even nerf Scholars. They'll just probably buff everything else or redesign things a little bit. So, yeah, you won't have to worry about balancing as much, because it'll be it should be a lot easier, skill-wise, time-wise, to be able to play more than one healer. If we're talking specifically about healers, but this is true for all the roles. That's kind of, again, one of the reasons why I really like what they're doing. So.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do it one person per question. How about we do that? And that way we can kind of get through them a little bit quicker here. Zedin was asking this. I'm going to ask this to you, Arthas. Are you guys going to wear the RP tag? So, Arthas, are you going to be wearing that RP tag at all?
No.
No?
At the end, no.
No?
No way. I will even blacklist friends. I will even blacklist friends if they put on RP tags.
Are there...
Yeah.
Is there... On Chocobo, is there a big RP seat?
No.
No. Okay. No. Is there a JP server that's equivalent to like Balmung with RP? I think I might have asked this a long time ago, but
I'm not sure. I would love to transfer a character over though, if there is. I've always been wanting to check out the RP scene or ERP scene at Balmung. Just couldn't get a chance to make a character there.
I'm sure you couldn't get a chance to make a character there.
Oh, man.
You play two characters at the exact same time. I'm sure there was no chance in that.
No way. I've been trying every 2 days to create a character on Balmung. People tells me that maintenance day might be the chance. So maybe our server couldn't have the chance to log in on patch day, maybe I will have a chance to turn on full focus on creating a character on Balmung this time. Oh man, that would be good.
Okay, I'm going to say this real quick, complete tangent. Chocobo. That's how you say it, right? All right. I say Chocobo because it comes off my tongue really naturally, and I get seared every single time. So I say Chocobo. So Chocobo. I'm going to train myself, guys. I'm going to say Chocobo. We're going to do it. Completely off subject, but I had to do it. All right, guys. All right. I'm going to ask this next question over to Arthas here. Not Arthas. I'm sorry. Arkk. Newfie Devil, are the Astro Shields going to be stronger than Scholar now, excluding crits?
Oh, so excluding crits.
Yeah, so Astro Shield stronger than Scholar Shield if there's no crit
before
from the Scholar.
Buffs.
Yeah.
Before the buffs, they are already. So yes.
Yeah.
And they are very close to Scholar Shields when it crits now with the buffs. I believe very, very close.
Which is just pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful because it's guaranteed.
Yeah. All right. So Zedin has another question here, and this is going to go to Arthas. Would you rather have made Astro overpowered at the beginning in 3.0 and then have them slowly nerf it over time?
Wow. How about not have Astro Illusion at all? I mean, this is a biased question. Well, you have no idea why I hate Astro Illusion so much. It was so bad at the beginning. But
if they were overpowered, you wouldn't hate them.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to cover. If now we were to go back to 3.0, I have no idea how shit this job would be up to this point. I would definitely hope that they were so OP, and then things might not have happened in 3.0. It was so bad in 3.0. I can like write a book about it. It was so bad. This is that is also when my astrologian hate comes from. It was so bad.
I remember. I remember having conversations with you, and then you get triggered every time. It's like, hey man, I can't wait to do Astro because it's so great. Astro's the best, and then you just like go on a 5-minute, 10-minute rant about it right afterwards.
You know, people hated Living Liquid for another reason. I hated Living Liquid because of an astrologian. Yeah, let's just summarize that. Yeah, it was very painful experience.
And this is we're hitting back on Astro a lot. People had a lot of questions about it. Arkk, Zad asked, what do you guys think about the card imbalance now, though, with most cards now being relatively weaker? We kind of went into that a little bit, but if you want to hit it just real quick again.
Like again, yeah, the fact that they have more options to redraw now, and that they're more likely to get those powerful cards is one thing as well. They still use those other cards for Royal Road, so sometimes you want them to actually come up, right? So it's, yeah.
I mean, they're turning into Royal Road cards.
They're still important. In some cases, they're just as important as the balance, right? Like, unless you just want to toss off a balance with a bus, which you would do. But, I mean, you get it, and it's like, okay, now my next balance that I get, or my next pull that I get is still more powerful. So the odds are in their favor of getting these powerful cards and using them well.
I'm hoping I can convince Kerr to give me a Spire card. I'm really hoping I could do it, so she doesn't Royal Road it, because I'm going to be like, play Paladin.
You don't have do you? Yeah.
I have no ninja, so
if you get a Spire card, that'd actually be good if the fight is
But like then she could just balance somebody and probably get more out of it, right? Or I don't know. It depends where we're at in the fight.
She gets stuck with the Spire. She can toss you the Spire. It's just the worst when you get that card and you have a Royal Road up and you can't you don't really want to use up your Royal Road.
Yeah.
It's like everyone gets a Spire now.
Yeah.
Here's your enhanced Spire, Frosty.
All right, Arthas. This next one again, back to the healing, which you're very familiar with, Arthas. One's intellect. But here is the question: damage for healers is supposed to be secondary, right? Or is healing secondary? Could that be why the accuracy cap is what it is, to force you to heal more? Do you think that might be the case, Arthas?
I don't know, man. I mean, Yoshida, the way they design healers and the way they design the fights, I think that healing is definitely primary. You know, DPS is our job, but if you can squeeze it out, then go for it. But whether they keep doesn't want to raise accuracy cap, is it trying to stop people from DPSing? That seriously, I do not know. But I just think that if they don't do it, whatever. But right now the meta is if you don't do it, you are bad. So yeah, up to individual, man. I've seen JP Parks clearing A8 with 0.7 DPS white mage, and I'm not kidding you. How the fuck did he clear that? I have no idea. Apparently, it's not an issue for them. They don't need the accuracy, so
yeah,
up to people, man.
Yeah, we'll see how that all works out. It's gonna be kind of interesting with the whole accuracy kind of weird spot that everyone's gonna kind of be in. Okay, so these are some other. These questions got a couple directed actually straight at Arthas and one directed at me. Zedin wants to know, Arthas, why are you a scrub tank in WoW? Are you a bad tank in WoW, Arthas?
Do you? When I first played WoW, I was a DPS. Then I Demon Hunter DPS. I was pretty okay with it. I mean, partly because the job is OP apparently. That's why they're nerfing it soon. And then I was like, okay, since I can't find a group, I might as well play tank. Yeah. And that's how it happened. But I'm not that bad. I'm not superb, but I'm not that bad. Okay. It was okay.
That's how I feel. I'm not great, but I'm not that bad.
Do you know why people ask me that question? Because there was this one run, I got kicked from the group because I did the mechanic wrong. So after reviewing for one day, do you know what it turns out to be? It turns out to be that sub-tank did the wrong mechanic and thinks that I should have done the mechanic the wrong way, and he thinks that I'm actually doing it wrong, and then he kicked me. So basically, I'm doing it right, but I got kicked. Yeah. That makes me a bad tank. I don't know. Thanks for Warcraft player. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I was so ragey that day. Holy shit.
All right, Arthas, you have another question here from MV. Will McDonald's be sponsoring your progression through the creator, seeing as how when you did Midas progression, you had McDonald's delivered to your house every day?
No, not every day. That is exaggerating. No, not every day. No.
Okay.
I mean, I eat once a week on the weekend when we are raiding. Cause my wife is a gamer herself back then. She played Final Fantasy 11 all the while with me, and then she also played some 14. So she knows the importance of raiding. You know, wonderful wife, right? And then she'll be like giving me food. But you can't always wake your wife up in the middle of the night while you're raiding to make food, right? So sometimes you order McDonald's
not always, but sometimes.
yeah. You know, to let her sleep rather than wake up. Like while I'm doing MogTalk, she make noodles for me, and I haven't even eat it. She make bread for me, and I haven't eat it. You see what I mean? So don't want to wake her up, man. So I order McDonald's.
So
I'm
are you
doing it
gonna
for
have
her, not for me?
like in the corner of your camera, you're gonna have like the golden arches, just kind of like right there in the corner? It's just gonna be part of it.
Sponsorship from McDonald's? No, that's not gonna happen. No.
Is the McDonald's in Singapore? Like, is it good?
Yeah,
good?
it's actually it's actually pretty good. Not as good as Japanese one. Like people keep saying that fast food is really bad. I mean, fast food was never good, but the quality Singapore McDonald's have and what we have out there, you know, like those food stores. Singapore's McDonald's is not that bad. Man, I'm like promoting again. It's not where am I gonna get that sponsorship, man?
All right. And this last question was aimed at me. Kerr actually took this question immediately from chat and put it in here as quickly as she could. This is from Snarters. Question for Frosty. When will you change your shield glamour? So the story behind this is that, you know, that wooden little square that you get as a shield really early on, like one of the first shields you get.
The cracker shield, yeah, the cracker shield.
I wear that as my shield because it's unique and it's different. The only reason I would change it is if there was like this big, huge shield that I could like put on. It would take up like most of my body. You know, there was a shield in WoW back in the day in Burning Crusade when you beat either as Black Temple or something. It was like this big tower shield with spikes and stuff all over, and it took up a lot of your body. I would love that shield, but I don't think there's a shield like that in Final Fantasy, so I'm not really that interested.
Do you go the opposite
we actually have that.
direction?
We actually have that in 1.0. 1.0 we had power shield, we have kite shield, we have round shield, we have small shield. Not sure where they all go.
Yeah. So we'll see how all that works out. All right. So I think that's a whole bunch of questions about McDonald's came out, but we're gonna skip them right now. Sorry, guys. But I think that's pretty good. We had a really good discussion today. I feel like it went into at least a healthy discussion. And Arthars, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I gotta let you do your shout outs, man. Are you gonna do shout outs to anyone? Do you have anyone that you're like, oh man, I need to make sure this person gets recognized?
Wow. I mean, like I say, man, I don't really have much friends like playing on the server with. Like mainly the people I know are basically from the Twitch community, like, you know, jumping to the channels. Like I don't really get to play with you guys much, like Arkk, like Frosty. I don't get to play with you guys like at all or much. But I mean, it's good to see that there is people like in the chat right now. There's so many people that I've seen like in my channel or in everybody's channel. So shout out to all of you guys who are still playing the game. I know that all of you are not like hardcore raiders, and I'm sorry if one of you happens to be those casuals that I've been bashing since day one, but it's still good to see you guys hanging around. So shout out to you guys for hanging around and making the Twitch Final Fantasy community so great to be in, because I really don't have much friends outside of my JP. Like you guys are my only friends, you know, on the NA scene.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll get you on some more shows here, Arthars. We'll just have a nice little hangout. I know you got to wake up at like 6 in the morning, but you know, or just stay awake all night. I mean, that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Arkk, you got any shout-outs you want to do to anybody?
Yeah, well, they're pretty much the same as last week. Is just again everyone from Lucidity, from our free company on Gilgamesh, who came by and support me, and of course everyone who supports MogTalk. Big shout out to you guys. Really love what you guys do for the community and everything. So.
Well, thanks, man. And everyone here, I would have to completely agree. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show today. Please catch Arthars at his stream, which is ARTHARS. Not Arthas, but Arthars, you know. Where'd you come
I
up with
should
that
have
name,
really
by
made
the
a
way,
timing
man?
though.
Did I ever ask you that?
Oh my god, do you want me to tell you the story?
Tell me
There are
the
many
short-
people,
the short-
especially when I played World of Warcraft that period, so many people came in and asked me I was like, dude, okay, my name when I was playing like Dark Age of Camelot, I'm already using this name.
Mm-hmm.
So the inspiration comes from Arthars, you know, the Knights of the Round Table, the Arthars.
Yeah.
Not Lich King.
Yeah.
And then suddenly one day when World of Warcraft 3 came out, and then I played the campaign, like, fuck, there's an Arthas. Holy shit. There's a Dark Knight Arthas. And when I played Final Fantasy 11, I'm a Dark Knight. And then now there's a World of Warcraft Death Knight Arthas. I'm like, fuck, my life is ruined. I'm gonna stop playing MMO from now, right?
It's like it's very dramatic.
I'm not gonna give up this name, right? So when I was playing 1.0, my name, my last, because fucking Final Fantasy 14 have this last name system. When I created Arthas, I have no idea that I one day would have to come out with a last name. So my last name was just a random Japanese. I just Googled cool Japanese last name. I just type it in 1.0. So when it comes to 2.0, I get a chance to change it. I'm like, you know what? Technically, Blizzard stole my first name, except that they don't have an R. You know what? This time I'm gonna like full on steal their last name, because that's what everybody's gonna think about my name from now on anyway. And that's how my name become what it is now. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. And please catch him out when he streams. Follow him if you haven't followed him already. He's always a blast to listen to. He's always talking like this. Well, in this show, if you guys enjoyed him ranting and going ridiculous, he does this 24/7 on his stream. Basically, every time that he's streaming, that's pretty much what he's doing.
Only when I get triggered. Yeah.
Which is like constantly, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ban the channel using Astrologian from now on.
Every channel uses that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna ban that word.
Ban it from anyone saying it. Nice. And please follow ShamanArkk too. You're probably going to do more streaming after this tier's over with.
After the progression tier, yeah. Palace of the Dead is going to be really. That looks like a ton of fun. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with the leaderboards and everything. I don't know if I'm going to do like duo runs or solo runs or just whatever, but something. Whatever is. Yeah. Something. We'll have to see what it is.
And
content. Yeah.
Ark's
That's
always
probably the next
a
time
pleasure
I'll be
to
doing
talk
all the
to.
streaming.
Yeah. And if you go into a stream, you're always willing to talk to someone about whatever they want to bring in. So if they have a question.
How prog went, or specific questions about prog and things. At that point, I'd be an open book about it. So.
Yeah. So here's the difference. You can go watch Arthur stream when he's streaming to hear him go crazy and insane about things, and you can listen to Arkk, and he'll be like, "Well, this is what I think," and come in a calm manner, kind of going through all of his discussion. So you got two different versions of really good information coming at you. Oh man, I love you guys. So thank you as well to everyone watching the show. It was an absolute blast to have you guys here in chat. Thank you, Kura, for collecting questions throughout the show. Thank you, Blizzana, for doing the artwork, the layout for the show, and the Moogle logo that you're seeing. Thank you, Andre Kane, for letting us use his music for the intro. And to let you guys know, MogTalk will not actually be airing next week. I'm going to be at TwitchCon. World first? No. It's going to be TwitchCon.
We're all suspicious now, Frosty.
We're all suspicious, yeah. But I'm not going to be here next weekend because I am going to be at TwitchCon. I'm going to try to find people who stream Final Fantasy XIV at TwitchCon, and I'll be doing interviews with them if I can to try to give you guys some content from that. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get, but I'll be posting that up as we get back from TwitchCon. Hopefully it'll be kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys care for half the people I'm going to interview, but I want to see where Final Fantasy XIV and Twitch kind of come together at this conference that they're doing. So hopefully that's something worthwhile to you. The weekend after that is going to be an offline episode because of work, but it's going to be hopefully an interesting offline episode, which I'm not going to give details on until I have everything confirmed on it. Then the weekend after that, we're offline because of FanFest. So the next month is going to be a little bit weird.
Are you gonna be like doing a video log on at FanFest?
I'm going to be running around with a camera at FanFest, and all that stuff's going to be kind of sent after FanFest is over with. I'm going to edit it and throw it out there. A little just conversations I have with the players. Anyone going to FanFest, please come up and say hi to us and everything. I'll be advertising that a little bit more as we get closer to FanFest. Hey, if when you're there, come up and talk to me. I'd love to get you on camera and ask you a few questions. So it's going to be kind of interesting seeing that. But for now, next weekend, TwitchCon. If you guys are going to TwitchCon, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to talk to you as well. We need to host somebody. I just hit my mic, but we need to host somebody here. Arthas, since you haven't been on the show in a while, do you want to pick somebody to host?
Let me see. Give me a sec.
Okay.
What, Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Or anyone?
A Final Fantasy, preferably. But if you have someone that's streaming something else that you really want to have host it, we can host them too.
I'm looking at the list. You guys always host Sly, right? I want to say Sly, but you guys is gonna be like, oh, we always host Sly.
We do always host Sly.
Yeah, I know you guys. When I watch the show, always it's like, no, nobody. I'm like, I want to. How to say? I want to have another streamer that is like, you know, like crash into the scene, like, yeah.
Just a new streamer.
Yeah, something like that. Like, let them know that this game is awesome or something. Let their community, their own community, know that, you know, we are around. Enjoy the game, so that one day we can, like, you know, have this talk together. But I like I said, man, I really don't know much people in the NA scene. If there's any Leviathan people up here, I would just throw a Leviathan name. But
okay.
I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't. I can't. I don't know these guys. I'm sorry. Arkk.
Gosh, I'm looking for someone who's new that looks like they're leveling up, and I can't see anyone here that looks like they're leveling up.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody here, right?
Oh, Rin-chan off stream already? I saw Riri-chan. I thought it was Rin-chan.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw that name too. I thought it was Riri-chan. Oh my gosh. Come on, all right, Arkk, do you have somebody?
I'm looking at the same list as you guys.
All right.
I don't, you know, no one I recognize. I think,
yeah.
No. A lot of people
It's
are playing
good to
other
see.
games.
It's really good to see these people streaming though. Like, one few days before 3.4, still many people doing it. Like it, yeah.
All right, we'll go for the next past Sly. Just because I feel really bad if I'm always hosting Sly after MogTalk.
Yeah.
Next time we'll get Sly. But I just feel really bad that we host him every single time. So the next past Sly is the one that's close to Rin-chan's name, Riri-chan. And we'll give them a host here. Anything else that you guys want to say before we go off air? No, you guys are content, right? 2 hours of talking, we're good.
I mean, yeah, some stuff's about 1.0. I initially want to talk about, but no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, next show, we'll have you on to talk about it.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Let's do our wave in here, guys. Say bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Thanks for watching.